disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing. Lomito! Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Radio. Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. There's your good friend Mr. BDA, flying solo for the moment. Hopefully people help me remedy that. Got a lot going on in the boxing world right now. We've got boxing this Saturday. We had some very good boxing this past Saturday. And in between, a couple of news regarding the future of boxing, future boxing events that I think everyone will enjoy. We're going to talk about all of that, the drama in the lightweight division, and much, much more. We're going to be opening up the phone lines in about half an hour, 45 minutes, so stay tuned for that. Before we get down to the fun, let's get the business out of the way. You guys, you know the drill. If you want to keep the gravy train rolling, you can certainly do so by donating with a super chat. Or you can join the BDA membership program where you get special emojis, badges, and film analysis. You get a little bit more bang for your buck, as it were. But the most important thing is that you continue to like, subscribe, and to spread the BDA gospel. All right, fellas? That's the most important thing, really, at the end of the day. Let's give a shout out to everybody in the chat room. Potato Bass, Jaguar, shout out to Jaguar, Eparokua, Steven Schneider, shout out to Steven, Sweet Science of Brawling, Mullers27, Iceman, Rafael Garza, shout out to Rifle. Who else we got here? Eric Gomez, Team Batman Boxing, Training Day, and many more people to come. I'm sure, fellas. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Like I said, a lot happened this Saturday. We had a revelation in Jesse Bam Rodriguez stepping in at the last minute to replace his Raquel Sorong-Visay, and he ended up beating Carlos Cuadras by decision. Young fella stepping it up. We also had Keith Thurman beating Mario Barrios and Chris Eubank decisioning Liam Williams Jr. Liam Williams, not Liam Williams Jr. in a bizarre fight that I don't think many of us expected it to go the way it did, but nevertheless, that's how it went. Like I said, fellas, we're going to be opening up the phone lines because there's some drama going on in the boxing community. We've got Errol Spence and Yordenis Ugas. They are set to fight in April, I believe. Hold on, let me check it out. April the 16th, according to Boxing Scene here. Check this out. Errol Spence, Yordenis Ugas official for April the 16th at the AT&T Stadium pay-per-view. I'm assuming that's going to be Fox pay-per-view. They don't say. But this is the fight. Oh, yeah, it is. Fox Sports. No, hold on. The 12-round, 147-pound bout between Spence and Ugas will headline a 4-fight pay-per-view event that either Fox or Showtime will distribute 9 weeks from Saturday night. All right, so there's still no confirmation regarding that. So we're going to talk about that. All right, let me just invite a couple of people here. Like I said, we're going to be opening up the phone lines. See if we can start cooking with a little oil, a little grease, see what people say about this fight. Hold on a second. Yeah, I was looking forward to the Liam Williams fight versus Chris Eubank Jr., and that was the one that was the most bizarre out of all of them. King Butcher goes Ugas for the upset. Got to look at those odds. Indeed, we do have to look at those odds. It's going to be an interesting fight. I mean, at this point, you got to give it up to the PBC. They're making the fight that's necessary. Because we could have, I mean, I got to tell you, fellas, we could have gotten Errol Spence versus Chris Vardyk in 2 and Yordenis Ugas versus Danny Garcia or something bizarre like that. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them to really give us that type of fight. So we've got Spence versus Ugas. I got to tell you, though, I'm looking at the records here. Ugas fought in the summer 2021. He only fought once. Spence hasn't fought since November 2020. So he was out all 2021. Can you believe that? So Ugas didn't really fare all that much better. Only one fight. And don't forget, some people are saying, yeah, but Ugas been more active and all that. That could be true. That activity could play a factor here for him in his favor. But let's not forget, fellas, Ugas is 35 years old. He's no spring chicken either. So I don't know how this fight will go, man. I'm very intrigued. If you would have asked me, and I think this is true of most people, if you would have asked most of us, who wins, Ugas or Spence, most people would have said, Spence. If you would have asked us 2 years ago, no question about it. Now, though, I don't know. I've got Gonzalo dropping by here. Gonzalo, you there? All right, Gonzalo.
Hey, how's it going, Mr. BDA?
Good, man. Good to have you on board. What do you think about this fight? April 16th, Errol Spence, Yordenis Ugas. What do you think about this fight?
Let me see. Errol Spence, Yordenis Ugas. We kind of know what to expect from Errol Spence, hence the car crash, but we saw that with the performance against Mikey Garcia. Pretty solid all around, fundamentally. Decent punch, consistent with his punching. Eventually try to break you down, but it's not showing the type of power to be like the man down that, he's not getting the knockout. So Yordenis Ugas probably will go the distance. Will he win? Well, he does better against southpaws than most left-handers because he's a left-hander himself, so he'll be fighting another left-hander, which usually doesn't happen too often. So you'll get a righty fighting a lefty, you'll get two righties fighting each other, but to have a lefty fight another lefty in sparring or an actual fight, it's very rare. Therefore, it's harder to prepare for that type of fighter. But Errol Spence, Yordenis Ugas just fought Manny Pacquiao, and he stated himself that he fares better against southpaws. So he's a pretty strong dude too. So when he fought Sean Porter and Figueroa, he was able to unmuscle Figueroa, who usually does well muscling 140 pounders, but he fought a 47 pounder and couldn't do that to Yordenis Ugas. And he did well in the same token against Sean Porter, who does a good job of outmuscling actual 47 pounders and couldn't do that to Yordenis Ugas. So we'll see how he does against a pretty strong guy in Errol Spence. So it's pretty 50-50. I don't know who to pick, but it'll be a good fight. But like you said, the activity level might play into what type of action we might get. Will we get two guys that have ring rust and won't actually go out there to throw hands early on, and they'll make it into like a little bit of a boring affair until it gets heated up? We'll see.
Yeah, I've never seen Ugas in an entertaining fight, really. He's more of a counterpuncher, and he makes guys not want to throw that much. I mean, the Abel Ramos fight, that wasn't highly entertaining. The Porter fight wasn't entertaining. When he fought Ray Robinson, it wasn't entertaining. So maybe Errol Spence's real victory here will not only be to beat Ugas, but to do so in a way that makes it exciting. Like if he can bring a little excitement out of Ugas, Ugas is from that Cuban school. People say, well, he doesn't really fight like the Cubans, meaning he doesn't move around excessively, but he's still at heart a Cuban boxer. He's like, hey, let me counterpunch in between your shots. You don't punch. I punch when I want to, and you punch when I want to. And at the end of the day, that's the way he works it. And it's not terribly entertaining. We got more people jumping in. We got Buchu. We got recognized fellas. This fight has been announced. It is official. Ugas versus Spence. How exciting is this? And let me ask a preface to that question. Is it exciting, considering the fact that there's not much in the horizon for either of them? I mean, Crawford's probably not going to fight him. Pacquiao's retired, so that payday is gone. Like, what's next for the winner of this fight? In other words, is there anything at stake for these guys that really makes it exciting?
Anything at stake? I don't know, man. Like, listen, why are we getting Spence against Crawford again?
Because they got like some out of the ring issues, like that's more important than actually boxing. So I guess that makes
sense.
Right. That would be the explanation, right? Well, one side is not cooperating. To me, it's both sides, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, look, the significance is Ugas got a belt, right?
I think so, yeah.
So if whoever wins, and you got Errol Spence, who has two of the belts. If one of those guys win, they got three. They got 3 belts, and then you can make the winner fight Crawford if there's any time for that. If that's going to happen. That would be the significance of the fight.
And there's rumors of Thurman fighting Crawford now.
Oh my god!
So I guess
I saw that coming, Bucha. Definitely saw that coming.
Hey, before we continue with that, with Spence Ugas, let's talk about it because we didn't do a show the following day. Let's just recap what happened or our little thoughts. Keith Thurman beating Mario Barrios by unanimous decision. What did you guys think about that little performance?
Not much. I mean, look. Okay, so he could beat Mario Barrios. Didn't he used to put guys like that away back in the days? Like in his heyday.
But guys, didn't fucking Tank Davis stop Barrios?
Yeah, that's
5'5", 5'4". Well, how tall is the guy? How small is he? Like he managed to stop Barrios. Thurman doesn't. He's unable to do it. I mean, come on.
So, as of right now, Tank would be more of a appealing fight to fight Crawford than Thurman.
I mean, I was interested in the Keith Thurman physique, though. He looked ripped in there. It's interesting because
he was in good shape.
He's always in shape. He's always in shape. He's always in good shape.
But he never really looked ripped the way he did. I'm just saying, I thought it was interesting. He takes 2 years off, and then all of a sudden he comes back. Because he used to be overweight. Then all of a sudden he comes back and he's ripped. I don't know if he was on a program, if you know what I mean, or
changed the diet. Maybe he changed the diet. I don't know. It didn't matter because to me he looked like the same Keith Thurman we've been looking at for the past whatever years.
Well, look, he did
stun. Nothing special, man.
Right, he did stun. What's his name? He stunned Barrios a couple of times, but then Barrios, I missed what that because they do fucking PBC and the replays. They suck, by the way. Thurman got hurt by something in that fight at some point. They never showed if it was a body shot or whatever. He spit out his mouth.
Shot.
Was it a body shot?
Yeah, it was.
What is it with this guy and not being able to take... I mean, I know a body shot hurts anybody if they can take it, but that's not really true because, I mean, we've talked about it here. Gonzalo's mentioned it, how there's guys out there that can take body shots. They give them away, like Roy Jones, Pacquiao, Lomachenko to a certain extent. They have a very high guard and they can take flush shots to the body and they never wince or anything. This motherfucker, he gets stabbed to the body. Oh, he's falling apart like he's having appendicitis or something. What's going on with Keith Thurman?
He's a mover. Like he uses a lot of foot movement. So guys like that, the reason they do that obviously is to have a foot speed advantage over their opponent. This is just a theory. I think that a lot of that is because they know they can't take shots to the stomach, and so when they do get hit, they're kind of like not in place, so they get hit with a nice shot and they're like fucking off guard. They're not breathing the right way to tense the stomach, and when they get caught, they're like you know, they make that noise and they're fucking.
Yeah. There's always these moments in Keith Thurman fights where he's just on the move, on the run, moving his legs and like just moving around. Like why? Like it just looks terrible, man. He used to be Keith one-time Thurman, like this tough guy with power, and he's just running around. I'm telling you, when he fights Crawford, if he will fight Crawford, he will lose that fight, and then his next move is gonna be, well, I'm going to 154. You know what I mean? Like see what happens over there, like Danny Garcia. This is getting this. It's pathetic. But you think about it. These guys are the generation, that 2014 generation, 2015. We're in 2022, guys. It's the end of the road for a lot of these guys. Whether they want to admit it or not, it's the end for a lot of them. Like Danny Garcia. I'm sorry, man. It's a fucking end of the road for him. Keith Thurman's on the edge. How old is the guy? 33, 34.
Yeah,
I mean, all of a sudden, all these boxers think that they can be like the next Bernard Hopkins, right? Or Floyd or Pacquiao. You know what I mean? Like we're pushing. No, it's 34. You're like after 33, 34, man. You're on the decline, man. I don't care who the fuck you are. It's very rare that you get this type of guys like Hopkins and Floyd and Pacquiao.
Somebody in Twitter, Bucho, in our Twitter account, sent us a message saying that, because I don't know if you guys saw the event. Bucho, I think you didn't see it, but during the fight, the event, they showed Thurman going to the Las Vegas Strip there or whatever, and he tried to place a bet on himself. He tried to do it with a cashier's check, by the way. They told him to fuck off, but he was trying to place a bet on himself, and apparently, because I wasn't listening to it, but somebody told me that he tried to place a bet for himself to win by decision and not by knockout. So the fact that he did hurt Barrios a couple of times and sort of let him off the hook makes you wonder, did he fail to stop him because he's just not that guy anymore, or did he let him go the distance because he tried to? I mean, I don't know, though. I don't know if he actually placed the bet. I don't think they let him, so...
I mean, that sounds pretty shady. It sounds really shady. But look, that could be like, you know, showmanship. I don't know. That could be a lot of things, but that does... I mean, listen, there's enough evidence to show that in all sports, there's some, you know, shaving points, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? In boxing, I guess it would be, you know, shaving the knockout. But I don't know. I don't think he could have knocked out Barrios. You know, it's funny that Barrios got knocked out by Little Tank, but he can take a bigger shot from a bigger guy like Keith Thurman. And look, you can't convince me that Tank hits harder than Keith Thurman. I think Keith was trying to knock him out. Just when you're out of shape, you're out of the ring for that long. You could come in good shape, but that doesn't mean you're in good timing shape of boxing. And so, you know,
don't make excuses for that guy.
Don't make it yet. I mean, listen, I'm not going to make. You're right. Like that's an excuse.
It's not the first time. Yeah, he's no longer Keith one-time Thurman. Let's forget about that.
Well,
it's been years now.
Can I say something about that? I think the power is real because they asked Danny Garcia who hit harder, Spence or Thurman. He said Thurman, but here's the thing. Here's the distinction. I think he hits hard, but he was never really all that great a finisher. Because you can have the power, but there's guys out there that just either won't let their hands go or don't know how to put combos together. And that's always really been key. I mean, think about it. Who did he really stop? Diego Chavez, Jesus Soto Caras. And that's really it. When he stepped it up against guys that were able to roll with the shots or who were mobile or whatever.
That's a great point.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, so...
He was never good. Like, he got power, you know, like one time, I could hit you with one good shot and get you hurt, but I can't finish you, though. You know,
exactly.
He could finish you if you're a dead man, right? Like anybody could do that. But like if you recover from it, he can't follow up on that big shot. You know what I'm saying? He can't.
Yeah, like there's guys
not
sometimes.
Nagy, he's not Felix Trinidad.
Exactly. Correct. Yeah. Exactly.
There you go.
I mean, you know, sometimes like I hit so hard in sparring, I have to dial it down so the guys will actually step in the ring with me. But a guy like Keith Thurman.
Anyway,
was that?
No, sorry. Go ahead.
I think I heard somebody. I think I heard somebody trying to defy me, which is not going to end.
I was talking under my breath. I'm just jealous. That's all it is.
Well, all kidding aside, though, here's my question then: What happens with Keith Thurman from here on out? Because Bucho mentioned the fact that there's rumors that they're going to pit him in there against Crawford. What's he going to do against Crawford? Let's face the facts. I mean, he still hits hard, but
Crawford look good.
What do you guys think before we go? Because so we're talking about this potential fight. Did you guys notice that on the internet, certain channels are really hyping up Keith Thurman? Like he's back. Like I was so impressed with his performance. Oh yeah, he looked great. What do you guys think about that though? Like I think they're just saying that just to sell you that because they know that PBC fight is coming, right? Crawford against Thurman, and so they're trying to promote this fight, right? They wanna because they're so they're PBC guys, right? These channels they're pro PBC, so they wanna make you believe that it's a great fight.
I think that yeah.
I mean, it would have been interesting to see Crawford against
Thurman. These guys get a memo. They send each other like emails, you know. And there's evidence to suggest that because like, you know, I don't want to come up with like a Operation Mockingbird. I was going to say Mocking Thurman, Mockingbird thing going on. You could watch these people's channels. Somebody posted a video. I don't remember this butcher, but it was like a guy who posted a videos of all these channels all saying the same thing. Yeah, it was weird.
Wouldn't surprise me, man. Would not surprise me at all.
Yeah.
That they're in constant communication with each other, trying to, hey, this is going to be the narrative now. All right? This is going to be the narrative, brother. But you know what?
They get a press release or some shit, kind of like,
yeah, exactly. They're trying to keep the PBC afloat. And Keith Thurman versus Terence Crawford. Keith Thurman looked, there were good things about him. He still has the power. You got to give him credit for being able to move for 12 rounds. That takes stamina and endurance. But the fact that he couldn't put it to the next gear, that he couldn't move it to the next level, he's gonna need that against a Terence Crawford. And if he likes that, what the heck? We've seen now how Crawford ends up fighting guys. He's struggling. He's not looking all that great. He's getting tagged. Then out of nowhere, boom, hits him with a big shot and takes him out. Crawford's career at welterweight has been very Deontay Wilder-esque. He's not the most skilled, but he pulls out the power and boom, all of a sudden his opponents are done.
He's special. He's special. We gotta say that because, I mean, we were talking about the age of Keith Thurman. Terence Crawford is older than.
Yeah, I think he is. Right.
Thurman. Yes, but he has that little X factor. He's a special fighter. Keith Thurman, at this point, I think we can say with certainty that this guy isn't special, man.
I think at this point, Keith Thurman is not on Crawford's level.
So then why make that fight? You know what I mean? It's I mean,
Keith Thurman, and he was on TV for the longest of time. He was a champion. He wasn't really that impressive. He had some memorable, we could they weren't really memorable fights with Danny Garcia and Pacquiao and Sean Porter. So he was a welterweight that was in your face for all these fucking years, even though he had a lot of layoffs. And that's why he's a name, right? And Crawford, he needs an opponent. Well, Keith Thurman's there. Let's just make that fight happen. But that's it. It's because there's nothing else, basically.
Hey, remember?
That's why they're making this fight. Because,
remember every time Thurman used to fight and they would talk about Ben Getty? They would.
Ben Getty.
How annoying.
Ben Getty.
That was annoying, man. Every time he would fight, they would do a pre-fight video package where talk about Ben Getty, and they would make him cry. Ooh, Ben Getty, and then they would plaster that all over the YouTube channels and the PBC.
Who was Ben Getty again?
That was Keith Thurman's first trainer.
Janitors. He was a trainer / janitor from the school, and he's the one that he was Keith Thurman's first trainer, basically.
That's why Keith Thurman had the ponytail, because it was an homage.
I still remember the fucking story, man.
Yeah, well, of course.
Keith Thurman cried and shit.
Yeah, they had him crying, and then he was talking about how he had the ponytail as an homage to the mop that Keith Ben Getty used to mop the floor with at school. I'm thinking, come on, guys, is that really appropriate to be talking about that?
I mean, I just thought he had the ponytail because he didn't know what to do with his hair. That's all.
Hey, did you see Keith Thurman, by the way, now, how he looks? I think I showed you guys here the...
man, you should take it lost the power.
No, well,
you should take that shit down, man. It looks
I'm sharing the screen with you guys. Can you see it? Can you see it? I'm sharing it with you.
Let me see. I mean, get the fuck out of here. Wait. That's a real picture, though.
No, that's a fake. That's a fake. The MMA champ.
What the fuck?
MMA champ put it on the Discord.
Yeah.
That was.
That's not a forehead. That's not a forehead. That's a 5-head.
That's a fake. I mean, that's the.
I was like, yo, I've never seen this before. A dude only draw hair in the back of his head.
People think that's real. That's not real, man.
No, of course not. Yeah. That's an Easter Island. That's one of the Easter Island statues, man. But
oh man.
Anyway, by the way,
Keith Thurman. Yeah.
Can I say something? Okay, so
yeah, me too. Go ahead, BDA.
Can I say something? Okay, so we talked about Errol Spence versus Ugas. That's happening April the 16th. We just had Crawford. I mean, a Thurman fight, and supposedly they want to match him against Crawford. It just seems like this welterweight division has gone to crap. We're in a transition period now because guys like Crawford and what's his name, Crawford and Thurman are out the window. Right? They're already in their mid-30s. Errol Spence is, 32, and he might not fight anymore because he seems to be willing to work more in his farm than actual boxing. Ugas is 35. Pacquiao's retired. So it seems like we're in a transition period, and I don't like this transition period right now. I mean, of course, Ugas and Spence are about to fight each other, but there seems to be a little bit of a magical element missing from it. Am I wrong here, fellas? Or?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Well, why is that though? Because we don't have special fighters, man.
There you go.
We don't have De La Hoya, Trinidad. I remember that, man. That late '90s, early 2000s was, or late '90s. It was a good welterweight division, man. This welterweight division, it's like it never fulfilled. These boxers like Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, and John Porter, they never really like took that spot, man, as great welterweights. Yeah, the welterweight division is a historical division, and these guys just fell short, man. They never really fought each other in their primes. And when they actually did fight each other, like Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia, that fight sucked. That fight sucked, man.
I mean, think about it, fellas. And I think of as this before. Errol Spence, if you were to retire today, let's say his eye, God forbid, but let's say he couldn't fight anymore because of his eye or whatever. What's his best performance?
That's a good question. I guess you could say, if you take opponent and performance, probably the fight with Kell Brook. And if that's your best performance, your best win, are you like an all-time great? You know what I'm saying? No. You're just a guy who had potential and had decent wins.
I mean, think about it. You talk about the Kell Brook fight. That was 2017. 2017. Yeah. He fought Porter. The fight went down the wire. It's not like because when you look at a guy like Salvador Sanchez, you look at his career and go, "Oh, he beat Wilfredo Gomez, beat him up. That was a Hall of Fame performance." Like Trinidad, when he fought in the welterweight division, okay, the De La Hoya fight was close, but then when he goes to 154, he destroyed everybody. So there's a period of all these all-time great welterweights and all that where they destroyed at some point, right? Errol Spence, he destroyed Kell Brook, he destroyed Lamont Peterson. Then he struggled against Porter. 8-4 against Danny Garcia.
And the layoffs.
And the layoffs. There you go. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, it sounds like he fought these guys in every 4, 5, 6 months. No, he took layoffs and he lost momentum. This is what these boxers they were mentioning before had. They had momentum as well. Big fights, big wins, and momentum. They fought consistently. These guys disappear for a year and a half, and they were expected to be like, "Oh my God, the king's coming back to fight again." No, we cannot forget about these people.
Exactly, man. I mean, it's the welterweight division is in a little bit of trouble now. Some people are going to say, "Well, what about Virgil Ortiz?" Okay, yeah, but Virgil Ortiz is with the zone, so what can they really make with him? Eddie Hearn already said, "Look," because they asked him about Terence Crawford. Should he sign with Matchroom and fight on the zone? And he said, we got nothing for him. He was pretty candid about it. We got nothing for him. Go to the PBC. That's where the big names are. But even then, Crawford and the PBC, he's pricing himself out. He wants $10 million probably to fight Keith Thurman. So, I mean, it's not looking good to with either Crawford, the PBC, or Virgil Ortiz in the PBC. Then you got Jaron Ennis. I mean, the sky's the limit for this guy. We've had people on the show say that supposedly he wipes the floor with all the welterweights, and it reminds me of what people were talking about with Errol Spence. Remember after Errol Spence beat Chris Algieri, and everyone was like, "Well, there's nobody that can beat him. He can beat Keith Thurman, he beats Garcia, he beat Porter," which he ended up doing, but he didn't wipe the floor with those guys the way they were expecting. Now they're doing.
Will they let him?
Well, first of all, I don't even know he can make 147 for that long, Yordenis. He's 5'11".
Well, before he moves up, he should fight these guys.
I agree. Guys,
I still remember Fernando Vargas when, after he beat Icor Tay, remember he was 22 years old or something? He was calling out Trinidad. That was amazing, man. Maybe he shouldn't have taken the fight, all right. But still, he wanted that fight, man. He wanted it, so why not? And this is what I want to see from Ennis. People like call out specific guys, man. Don't I'm gonna have to talk with Al Heyman and see what he wants to say. No, man, I want Spence. Like, give me Spence. Show up to his fights. I mean, do something, man. Just sit around.
Hey, by the way, shout out to Chris K for his contribution with the super chat. He says, if Spence Ugas is pay-per-view, I'd rather donate to AOC and Bernie Sanders. Oh, man,
there you go.
Yeah.
It's a big fight.
Your money wisely.
Yeah.
It's a big fight, but I mean, I can understand the sentiment of having enough with. But that's what you gotta expect with the PBC, though. Don't expect them to give you big fights on Fox. They don't have the money to do that anymore. It's gotta be all pay from here on out. It's all pay per view. Get used to it with the PBC. And shout out to Spurger King. I don't know what that avatar is all about, but he says Happy Tuesday. Shout out to Spurger King. Hey, so I want to ask you with Yordenis, it's interesting because again, a lot of people are very high on the guy. I'm still skeptical. Now, Sean Porter, who a couple of months ago was saying that Yordenis was ready for everybody, he's now saying that he's overrated. I don't have a quote or anything. I just heard that somebody on Twitter said that supposedly Sean Porter said that in his podcast not that long ago. What do you guys think? Is he being overrated?
Yes. By some, not all, by quite a few people that are overrating him. You know, we've had people tell him, I think he beats Crawford. I think he beats, Spence. I think he beats everybody. Ugas, everyone. I'm like, what guy on his resume gave you the impression that he would definitely beat these dudes?
Right.
You know?
We don't know if he's overrated or underrated.
Yeah, he's a good fighter, but if you guys notice, all of a sudden they started campaigning for him as far as like the fans for him to be higher than what's this guy's name? Virgil Ortiz. All of a sudden, without really fighting too many guys. I mean, he's good, but where did he go from being good to being better resume-wise than Virgil Ortiz, who's still largely improving because he's a young guy as well? But when did that happen? Right,
Gonzalo. Yeah, exactly. You can maybe say based on the eye test. I mean, I think he could beat Virgil Ortiz, but to say he's like already the best and he's gonna wipe the floor with him and those sort of guys, that's an exaggeration. I mean, because we haven't really seen much of this guy.
I mean, I remember
people are excited, right? They're excited for that, but even the Ring Magazine or another site, that's pretty good and does this, rates fighters, did that too.
Yeah, that's what they always do, man. A couple of good performances, and everybody. I mean, let's not forget, man. 3 years ago, that was what they were saying about Errol Spence. Remember? If he goes in there against Porter, he stops Porter. What about Danny Garcia? Yeah, he stops Garcia. What about Keith Thurman? Yeah, he stops Keith Thurman. Then he goes in there against Porter. He went life and death with him. He couldn't take out Danny Garcia. So people gotta dial it back a little bit. I mean, think about it. The guy who's giving him his hardest fight right now was a 140-pounder in Sergio Lipinets. And some people are saying, no, he fought a couple of times at welterweight. What? Lamont Peterson, who was shot to pieces? I mean, come on. Let's face it.
Remember Lopez? He was saying that. He was saying that Spence would move up to the middleweight division and beat Canelo.
Oh. Yeah, there were people...
I'm sure Lopez is listening wherever he is.
Trap Media was another guy. Trap Media was another guy. I remember we used to have him on. He used to come on, rather. And he said that we were having a discussion about Canelo versus Errol Spence at 160. He was convinced that Errol Spence would outbox Canelo at 160 pounds. And then what happened? He goes 12 rounds against Danny Garcia. Remember, Garcia was throwing straight rights to the body, and he was making Errol Spence bend over. with those rights to the body. So imagine what Canelo would have done. I mean, it's people
It was
only
because
remember
of the accident.
Yeah, because of the accident. People only remember the last performance, and they look at Errol Spence against, let's say, Kell Brook, and they go, well, if he did that to Kell Brook, he could do the same thing to this guy at 160. Like, how? Don't you understand the different weight classes and different skill level? I mean, it's insane.
The question is how. And that's the part that they never explain, or they just run away.
So these people didn't learn their lessons, because now they're hyping up. Some of them are hyping up Boots, tennis, man. You know what I mean? So it's like, didn't you learn your fucking lesson?
I mean, he's
Calm
never
the fuck down, chill out.
The only guy that's been able to give him some adversity and pushback was Lipinets, and again, he was undersized. How would he deal against I know that fight's probably not going to happen, but Danny Garcia, for example, once he tastes Danny Garcia's power, is he going to be willing to open up the way he's done against Delorme and all these other guys, or is he going to say, you know what, let me dial it back, let me box from the outside a little bit, because that's what happens. There's levels to this.
Are you guys saying this guy is in the goods?
I'm saying I want to see him fight somebody that's going to stand up to him with power before
He's got holes in his game, that's for sure. I wouldn't say he's not good. It's just I need to see him in there with better comp.
Well, Thunderdome's been doing film analysis. Yeah.
No, I'm simply asking this question so people don't misconstrue what we're saying. Because then, let's say he's actually the real deal. Oh, you guys were saying he wasn't even that good. We're not saying that. We're saying what we're saying, that we want to see more of this guy. That's it. That's it.
Well, technically, he's not. Technically, he's not all that. Let's face the fact. The guy drops his hands. A lot like Terence Crawford. So that's what I'm saying is I want to see him against a guy with power, because some of the mistakes he makes, he can get away with it. Like, look, he ran over Delorme. He ran over. He was trying to run over Chris Van Herden. Those guys don't really hit hard. I mean, Delorme does hit hard, but he was.
Let's be honest. If he fought Crawford right now, he gets knocked out. Come on.
I don't know. Maybe. Like, who knows? We don't know.
Look, I don't know until they fight. But if I had to take a bet,
come on,
I say Crawford knocks him out.
He's a big guy, man.
He's a big boy, but I can still see Crawford chin checking him eventually. And he's never been hit by a guy like that, and he goes away.
True. He hasn't been chin checked. Yeah, you're right.
The thing that makes him dangerous from what I see right now is, he's got holes in his game. But when he's up close to you and he's being defensively responsible for one, okay, that's not good. But when he's close to you and he's not necessarily like swerving all over the place to get away from your punch, and he hits you first, that means he's in position to punch you. And if he gets you before you get him, he's dangerous because he's in position to land the greatest shot that he possibly can by being right there close to you and not concentrating his efforts to swerve and to get out of the way. No, he's there to punch. And if he gets you first, he's going to hurt you.
Yeah, I like the fact that he goes in there to destroy guys so far. He's not there because he could throw one shot at a time and bark while he's doing it, which I hate, by the way, and just move around the ring for 12 rounds. Now, he's going after this guy. He's putting combos together. He can do that right now. But can he do that against a Virgil Ortiz, a Crawford, a Danny Garcia? That's why, so in other words, to sum it all up, we're trying to say is, let's dial it back a little bit with this whole Jaron Ennis wipes the floor with everybody right now. Because the fact is, history has shown us that once a guy steps it up, all of a sudden his performances will not shine as much. Because now he's fighting guys that are answering back, who can roll with the shots, who have a good chin, and so on and so forth. So we'll wait and see what happens.
He's not even at the point where we can say that he has a legit win, like a good win. You know what I mean? A big name or something in his record.
Exactly.
We're not even at that point.
I mean, they're good wins, but they're nothing that makes me go, whoa, wait a minute, this guy, it's just a matter of time before he wipes the floor with him.
I can't even say he's got a decent win. I don't. When I look at his resume, I'm like, where's the decent guy that he beat? Well,
let's put it this way. Right now, that the saving grace for him, that his fans are pinning on him, is that he's beating guys in ways that other people aren't beating them. So, in other words, like with Abdeu, for example. Well, he stopped Abdeu. Disputin couldn't stop him. All right, he ran through what's his name, Delorme in one round. You know what I mean? That's what they're saying. Like it's the way he's beating them. That's really the thing that people are hanging their hat on. Other than that, like you guys said, he hasn't beaten anybody that makes you go, whoa.
Yeah, he broke through Lipinet's shell when Lipinet was trying to block and trying to shell up. This guy, he literally broke through his guard and knocked him out. I mean, there was one fight that Thunderdome, I saw one of his lives that he couldn't knock out this one guy. So I don't know, man. There's tough guys that could go the distance with him too. But he knocked out Lipinets. He's a smaller guy, but he's pretty tough though.
Yeah, man. But I mean, it's it's like it's Lipinets. It's a smaller guy. He's not a welterweight. So anyway, like Bucho said, we're not saying the guy sucks, but we're saying we're gonna hold back before we start slobbering all over this guy's dick and saying that he wipes the floor with everybody. It ain't gonna happen, not on this channel. Now, speaking of big fights coming up, there's a lot of drama. I don't know if you guys have been following this in the lightweight division. Fucking Kambosos and Devin Haney are still talking smack. Devin Haney now, Kambosos now has come out and said that the Zone doesn't even want to see Haney fight him. This is what he's... Dan Rayfield came out too, and he said the Loma fight is in discussion, as is Garcia, for Kambosos that is. Both are on the table. The Zone has no interest in the Haney fight. Then Kambosos said, the boys said I'll go to Jupiter. Newsflash, mate. Australian stadiums are open and at full capacity. The Zone has no money for you. Ouch. I fought in England, Greece, Malaysia, New Zealand, and 4 times in America to become world champion. I earned my stripes, while some of these boys with bigger egos and accolades can't even go to another American state to fight, let alone 8,000.
So far, I in that whole there's no lies there. There's no lies. I haven't heard not one lie.
Destroying these people.
I mean, exactly. Most of these boys, because that's what they are. They're just young little boys. Their egos are bigger than anything they've done in the ring. What has Devin Haney done that's special? No, absolutely nothing. Even this whole thing that he's like some WBC type of champion. He didn't beat nobody for it. Okay? There's all these fake claims that Lomachenko ducked it and this is why, and it's like that's false. And then you got Devin Haney when they asked him, you think Lomachenko will fight you? He's hell yeah. They asked his father, he's like, oh, I don't know.
This is a good question. Who is this guy? No, that's a good question. Recognize what has he done? I mean, he's talented. He's talented. Like, I'm not gonna fucking lie.
No, he's talented. Look, these were dudes that we would have labeled cornballs back in the day. You know, no problem. Everybody would be like, yo, you're just a corny dude. Just, like, get in there and fight. That's it. Nobody wants to hear your mouth. Just go in there, get a good fight, Just do it. That's what he should be doing with Kambosos. He should be getting that fight.
Do it. Yeah, just do it, man. Like, cut the bullshit. We're tired of this shit, man. Seriously, we're tired of this shit.
Fight, man. Don't let somebody else steal that fight from you and they beat him. You're going to look like shit. I mean, your performances are shitty anyway. Now you're going to look like shit outside the ring,
Supposedly the rumor is that, and again, it's just a rumor that I saw in the comment sections all over the internet. Some people are saying that it's Bill Haney, Devin Haney's father, that wants more money. And that's why the Zone is scraping this fight. But it makes sense because, look, the plan apparently is, and this, again, just a rumor, but the plan apparently is to have Ryan Garcia come back against Tagoe, whatever the guy's name is, this African dude, beat him. Meanwhile, Kambosos will get a voluntary title defense. Then those two guys are going to fight each other, meaning Kambosos and Garcia, and then the winner would fight Devin Haney, which makes sense because, I mean, why would the Zone want to put in Kambosos and Devin Haney? Like Kambosos said, Haney doesn't sell at all. Even amongst Americans, which are essentially his people, they don't want to pay to watch the guy go 12 rounds. You know what I mean?
What's a bigger fight? Haney against Kambosos, so unifying, right? Because he has a belt, apparently, Devin Haney. What's a bigger fight? That fight, which is a unification fight for the undisputed title, or Ryan Garcia getting a title shot against Kambosos?
It's Ryan Garcia.
Ryan Garcia.
Right.
Yeah, Ryan Garcia is Ryan Garcia has more buzz to his name than Devin Haney. And that's a sad statement because Ryan Garcia is like Yeah, because he's like inactive, right? He's not an active fighter. He's going through depression. His last fight, he almost got knocked out. He got back up and knocked the dude out with a body shot. That's it. This dude is outshining you from outside the ring.
And at the same time, BDA, that you said all that, you age out Lomachenko, what, another year and a half, then you finally fight him.
Oh, hey, Gonzalo, that's the plan. That's the blueprint for all these guys. These Lomachenkos, Usyk, Triple G, to a certain extent, Kovalev. All these guys are the blueprint. How do you beat these guys? Get the mold.
That's right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
there's no discussion of Lomachenko at this point.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's the thing.
They don't want no part of that because they know whether in Australia or in fucking Mars, Lomachenko's beating Kambosos.
I mean, that's the same thing. That's the thing, though. People love to talk about Haney's being docked. Now, this guy's being docked. Let's face the fact. Lomachenko's the guy that's being docked, and they have an excuse too because, like with Garcia, Kambosos, Haney, Lomachenko's not really that big a draw. I mean, if you put him in there against a big name, that's about as big a fight. Like, when he fought Lopez, they did good ratings, but he's not the mainstream guy that they tried to build him up to be years ago. Just for some reason, Lomachenko never caught on fire with people. So
it's bias. There's a lot of American bias, right? He doesn't speak English. He's tried. So basically, he's just a very skilled fighter. And that basically sells itself, right? And so he's got age on his, the one thing that he's got against him is he's got age on his side, age against him, basically is what I meant to say.
Right.
He's a 34-year-old man. So they're like, there's not that much future in him. But, don't get it twisted. If they could get the fight, they'll make it happen. Bob Arum and Lomachenko, they'll take the fight. Because it just means that you can make bigger fights down the road. But if you take the boxing establishment within itself, like the Zone, with their fighters, they will try everything in their power to keep him from going over there, because they know once he goes over there, he takes that fight, Kambosos' reign is done. He loses against Lomachenko, and then they got to deal with Lomachenko. And to them, they're like, can Ryan Garcia beat Lomachenko? I guess maybe in theory he has a shot. Can Big Mouth Haney beat him? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of what ifs, but they feel confident against Kambosos. For sure.
Exactly. I mean, let's be honest for 2 seconds here. For a lot of people have to be honest. You look at the performances. Let's compare performances. Devin Haney takes on Linares. He's outboxing for 8 rounds and then spends the last 3 holding on for dear life. And just lunging in and going for a clinch against Linares. Then you have him struggling against Jojo Diaz, a fat little short stubby Jojo Diaz who can't crack a 135.
Clipping him with big shots too. Him with big shots. Yeah.
Exactly. Ryan Garcia fights once, almost gets taken out, and it traumatized him to the point where he has to get checked into Bellevue for therapy. Then you've got Kambosos and Lopez. Lopez loses, and Kambosos, he's the darling of the boxing world for 15 minutes there. But let's face the facts, he almost got taken out himself. He was all busted up. So you got Lomachenko, then comes back, wipes the floor with Nakatani to the point where people now have to say, well, Nakatani was finished. He was. You weren't saying that before the fight. And then he beats the crap out of what's his name, Comey. He does it clean. He does it clean. Stands in front of them, tries to stop him.
He didn't knock him out in 2 rounds.
Oh, and I forgot Tank Davis, who fights a short guy who hadn't really had any big wins in his record, in Isaac Cruz, and spends the whole fight running and clinching. I mean, come on. So when people go, well, yeah, but Lomachenko's overrated. Well, if he's overrated, what the heck are the other guys that aren't looking nearly as good as him against similar opposition? I mean, come on.
If he's overrated, then your peoples are in a bad state, bro.
Exactly. But I mean, people just can't be honest, man. It's a shame. Let's go to. We got a couple of phone calls here. Let's go to Come on. Is it loading up? Yes, it is. 202, you're on the air. 202, what's on your mind? 202, you're on the air.
I think I'm kind of cutting in and out here. Can you guys hear me clear?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes.
I'm still having interference. Hello?
Yeah, well, just speak your piece and we'll move on, all right, man? Because I think that we're having connection issues, but go ahead, please.
Okay, there you go. Hey. All right. So I was just calling to talk about the what's his name, Duran Ennis. Is I feel the same way. I think that Duran Ennis, we got to see Duran Ennis in trouble because like when I watch his fights, I mean the guy's skilled, and I mean like I think anybody who has a pair of eyes can tell that he's he's a very skilled fighter, and he separates himself from a lot of other boxers with his like raw talent. But one of the things that I'd like to see is, him actually get hit or go up against somebody that's actually going to, throw, some hard shots at him because, like you said, he leaves his hands down, and I want to see if that's like a weakness in his game or him fighting or him not doing so because it's not necessary. If he does things out of necessity or not.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're asking for things that are sensible here now. But the question is, apparently he's some sort of free agent. He's not really signed with the PBC or anything like that. So what do you think is possible for him down the line within the next 6 months? What type of fight can he get?
I mean, honestly, I'd like to see him. I mean, I know people would like to see him fight. People were talking about Spence and like some of the more elite guys in the welterweight, like Spence and Crawford. I don't want to see that. I think he's talented. I think would I say that he doesn't have a shot? No, I'm not going to completely say that he doesn't have a shot. But I mean, like who knows? None of us know. I mean, we haven't seen him in there with anybody. Like you said, worth mentioning. Because clearly the guy has skill, and so much skill that he's so far. He's light years ahead of his competition that he's faced so far. I'd like to see him go up against guys within his generation, within the welterweight, like Ortiz or even Conor Benn.
Oh yeah, I'd forgotten about Conor Benn. That's another
a good fight. That's a fight I could see him winning, but I can also see him getting clipped, and then let's see what happens. If they were to fight today, I think I would put my money on Boots, and I would put it pretty comfortable. But at the same time, I could see a scenario where he gets caught with one of Conor Benn's big shots, and then we're gonna see what happens. Does he fold? Right. Does he fight out of that? Is he better than that? Or like the caller said, maybe he'll use better defense because in that fight it would be needed as in compared to, the fights that he's had so far.
Well,
right.
caller,
and that's my. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
That's my reasoning, for wanting to see a fight like that because I know Conor Benn has a pretty sturdy punch on him. And like that kid, I'm actually pretty high on Conor Benn myself. Because he started off very, very, very raw, and within the past two fights, he's moving his feet better. He's gotten a little bit more selective with his shots. His shot placement has gotten better. He's actually a little bit more poised. In the ring from watching his last fight, and it almost looks like a completely different fighter from 2 fights ago.
Let me ask the caller: Do you think he would? You think he has a good shot of beating somebody like Boots? Because obviously you pay attention to him. I've seen highlights of him mainly. And I see what you're talking about in terms of like he's selecting his punches better. But do you think that he would be a real test for Boots and possibly could beat him?
I think he's definitely a good test for him. Whether or not he can beat him or not, all right, I'll put it like this. All right, if this boots that we have seen, like with him letting his hands go, him dropping his guard, if that's actually a weakness that he has and just him not fighting out of necessity, I think Conor Benn takes him.
Oh, whoa, that's a revelation right there, man. All right, well, listen, caller, man, we got to move on, but appreciate your call, and we're glad you called in because now we started getting a sense of what other people think about Jaron Ennis out there, and hopefully he gets some big fights within the next 6 months.
That's a fair assessment because, the one thing that Conor Benn does have is a really good punch. I see a lot of openings for Boots, for sure. But it's like that whole thing. If that's his weakness, he keeps his hands down, or it's a habit, or whether or not he's doing that, because of the opponent in front of him. There are guys that do that. There are.
Well, listen, caller, thank you for your call. Call back next time, right, man?
All right, thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you. Take it easy. Don't forget the number is 1-657-383-1147 right there on the left-hand portion of your screen. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 956. You're on the air. 956. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I want to make 2 points. But first about Ennis. Listen, Ennis, look, physically, he's talented. Like, he has power. He's athletic. He can do everything in the ring, right? But you ain't getting better. You're knocking out dudes like Delorme. You're knocking out guys like Lipinets, right? To put it in perspective, Ennis has only fought in 1 round in the past, I think, 14 months. That's it. 1 round in the past 12, 14 months. That's nothing. You're not improving doing that. You got Virgil Ortiz. Listen, he struggled with Maurice Hooker. He struggled with, what's his name? Mean Machine. At least Ortiz is learning in fights. He's having to adjust in fights. You get better like that. You improve like that. I think the thing about Ennis is he's not improving in fights. He's creating bad habits facing these small guys. Lipinets, Delorme, they're small guys compared to him. Right? He's creating bad habits. I predict that Ennis will be a flash in the pan. I do feel like he's going to get knocked out soon, and he'll be forgotten about. He has all the talent in the world. I think he's the most explosive puncher at 147. He's the most explosive puncher, but that don't mean shit when you're not in the ring, you're not in the gym, improving. I doubt he's in the gym improving. He don't need to because he's on a high right now. He knocked out Delorme in 1 round. Why would he go to the gym and work hard? This is how it is.
I mean, that's one point of view, man, and I think it makes a certain amount of sense. On the other hand, I'm not saying that what you're saying is untrue. I think other people would say, though, hey, he comes from a boxing family. I think everybody in his family boxes or whatever, so maybe they're keeping him afloat. Do you think that would be a factor, or you think, nah, he's all, like you said, those big performances are just getting to his head a little bit?
No, I don't think it really matters, man. He has these other guys, they're part of boxing families. Mikey is a part of a boxing family. Even in the Tyson Fury family, you have, what's his name? Tyson Fury's cousin, the heavyweight. What's his name? The tall heavyweight?
Whatever, yeah.
The one that fought recently. What?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, that guy, anyways, Tyson Fury's cousin, he is not dedicated that much. Neither is Tommy Fury. So being in a boxing family, that don't mean much, right? And I just feel like Ennis is going to fight another bum, right? After that fight, they're going to put him against a top dog. And he's going to get knocked out because he's not used to the speed. He's not used to the team, right? He can't get away with certain stuff he do. At that level, he's getting knocked out. He's going to lose all his confidence, and that's it. Another flash in the pan. That's how it is. And back to my other point, because I was going to say I was making 2 points. My other point was to Devin Haney and the whole Kambosos Loma situation, right? Listen, I just want Kambosos to fight Loma or Haney or even Tank. That's the fights I want next. But I feel like out of all the three, I think Devin Haney deserves to fight the most because he did have the biggest 2021. Because I think he did have the more harder resume between all three. I do think Lomachenko is, like, off the skill, Lomachenko is the best lightweight, I feel like. but it's not by a lot. But I do feel like he's the best lightweight. But if you factor in who had the toughest fights last year, I think it was Haney. You know, I mean, you're fighting Linares, you're fighting Jojo Diaz. Hey, I mean, come on. People were saying, you know, they're nobodies, right? I mean, how is Diaz nobody? You know what I'm saying? How is Linares walking the park? Those are two tough fights. I give Haney all the credit, and I hope Haney Kambosos happens. But if it doesn't, hey, I'm fine with Loma and Kambosos. But, I mean, don't sit here and say that Haney don't deserve that match.
Well, that's interesting.
No, I don't think nobody's saying that. I think that what Haney has to do is make sure that fight doesn't get taken away from him. Okay, because there's like outside stuff that could do that. If he could get that fight now, whether he deserves it or not, meaning he deserves over, let's say, a guy like Lomachenko, I would disagree with that. I mean, to me, it's just like whoever gets the fight, that's who deserves the fight, and it's not like, you know, Haney and Kambosos, Haney and Lomachenko are not contenders. They are, right? At this point, Lomachenko, even though he's a pound-for-pound talent, at this point, he's a contender. Haney got to make sure that they don't steal that fight from him, because I think whoever gets it between him and Lomachenko, I think it's Lomachenko. Lomachenko is going to beat Kambosos. That's my feeling. He's going to beat that dude, and I don't feel confident that if that happens, that Haney will make himself available to fight Lomachenko. Meaning, he's not going to be gracious at the bargaining table. You know, he's not going to look at it from, well, he's got 3 belts. He's Lomachenko. I deserve X amount of money. And I could see him saying, well, fuck it. Now Lomachenko is the champion. I'm going to move up in weight.
Yeah, Haney needs to secure the fight pretty much to the caller too. Don't be a diva, right? Don't be a diva now. Get the fight, get the belts, do what you need to do.
Yeah, and I made this prediction. I made the prediction too that I think Haney and Kambosos would fall apart. You got two guys that think they're the A side for whatever reason. You know, I mean, I respect Haney's skills, but I do think the guy is a bit his ego is a bit too big. You know, I think that's one of the downfalls of Haney. I think if Haney wants the Kambosos fight, he needs to take, you know, a bit of a pay cut to get that fight. You know, but in terms of Haney being scared of Loma, I don't think that's the case. I think Haney does want to fight Loma. But at the end of the day, my opinion and your opinion, it's just an opinion, right? It don't really mean much. Let's see if it happens.
Well, listen, it's an interesting take, and hopefully everything works out, man. And I was very interested as well in your Jaron Ennis take. We got one person who called in, said that Jaron Ennis is probably going to make it big, and another caller who said that Jaron Ennis is just going to be a flash in the pan. So we're starting to keep a tally here about who thinks about what. Well, listen, thank you for your call. Thank you for your call. We'll catch you in the next one, all right, man? Call back next time.
I agree with the call, and I think he was trying to say that he believes a guy like Ortiz is learning more in the ring than what Ennis is doing right now. You know, knocking a guy out in one round. I do believe that. If between the two, if you had to ask me right now who has the better future overall, I think it's Virgil Ortiz.
Yeah,
sorry, BD. If you're knocking everybody out in 1 round, 2, 3 rounds, it would best suit for you to fight more often, like Mike Tyson, Edwin Valero, where you can stay active because you're not taking punishment. You're knocking a dude out quick. You're not taking punches. Well, turn right around and fight again 2, 3 times. 4. Jesus, maybe even 5. No, 5 is too much. But I don't know how many Mike Tyson used to fight before, or like an Edwin Valero of the world. But you know, do that.
Yeah, man. I mean, if you're looking at Jaron Ennis here, I'm looking at his record, and it said that in 2021 he fought about 5 rounds against Sergio Lipinets. You know, stopped him in the 6th, so that's about 5.5 rounds. And then he beat Dulorme in less than a round. So all in all, he got about 6 rounds of professional time in there, and the only one that really gave him a good fight was Lipinets. So he needs to step it up and fight at least 3-4 times a year, man. That's at this stage in his career, he's only fighting twice, as if he's already got the title or some sort of championship on the line. I mean, that's not how it works, man. Let's go to. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. Let's go to 678 here. 678. You're on the air, and there's a lot of background noise. Hey. If you could get yourself somewhere. Yep. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, first of all, I want to shout out the Discord. This is Soothsayer12. I don't know if you guys spoke on it yet, but BDA, what do you think about that Robert Garcia leak call with Lou de Vera?
Yeah, what was that about? That it was him saying that he knew that Garcia versus Kambosos is next, as opposed to Haney versus Kambosos, right?
Yeah, well, they're supposed to both, because people were saying, well, that can't be because Ryan's fighting in April. But the thing is I guess Robert Garcia said that Lou de Vera basically told him that Ryan is going to fight a bum, Kambosos is fighting a bum, and then they were both going to go after each other after, like, bum fights.
So after they bum bashed, they're going to fight each other. So, but I mean, look, Kambosos is good, but isn't there the fear out there for him that he could actually end up getting beaten up, or beaten, rather, by his own voluntary mandatory? Because again, I think Kambosos is good, but I don't see him being the guy that's going to stay on top for 10 years.
No, I can actually see, love it or hate it. Listen, Ryan and Kambosos is more money than Haney and Kambosos. That's just the truth.
I agree, man. I agree. I mean, it's a business at the end of the day, and Haney versus Kambosos, it just doesn't excite people in the zone. They're looking to make money right now. Garcia versus Kambosos is a good fight. Now, people have to be honest about this too. The only ones that are talking about the undisputed and the only ones that are pushing for Haney versus Kambosos.
That belt don't mean shit.
Exactly, that's what I was gonna get at.
That belt don't mean anything.
It's always about the belt. Yeah, but it's gotta be for undisputed. So you're telling me Kambosos is not the man?
It's a mirage.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is the mirage. Kambosos is the man.
Suleiman could barely.
Who's the guy who beat the guy who beat the guy? Who's the guy who beat the guy who beat the guy?
Yes, Kambosos. Yeah.
The lineage.
Exactly. Yeah. So all this talk about, well, no, the Kambosos-Haney fight needs to happen first because it's for undisputed. If you're still on about undisputed, I don't know how you should get fluoride out of your brain. But if there's a way, get on it right away, man, because you're fucking fluoridated to the gills. That's my opinion on it.
One last thing.
Yes.
Yeah, did you know when Mauricio Suleiman was talking about what Devin Haney was? I mean, you could see it in Suleiman's face. He was trying not to laugh when he said he had the pride belt. So we were sitting here losing sleep over that.
Yeah, I mean, these people following every word.
Pride champion.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the champion. He's the champion. You know what?
And,
people. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, is King Bucho on? Is King Bucho on right now?
Yes, he is.
Hey, Bucho, I just want to apologize. I've been radicalizing the Discord, so I'll take my stuff outside of the BDA thing.
I don't know who you are, but there's a shit talk server. You can go and post whatever you want over there, man. Check it out. That's shit talk.
Yeah, just don't do it in the BDA, the main BDA, because that's where like a lot of people go for boxing, and then they might get turned off by that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's keep it boxing in the BDA.
We have sections. Hey, caller, we have sections where we can talk all politics, like the Second Ren. We have a Second Renaissance Discord where you could do that freely.
Is eugenics allowed in there? Eugenics talk?
Anything is allowed in there. You know, just no graphic pictures of like porn and gay porn.
Yeah.
You know, stuff.
Yeah, that's right. We got a separate server for that. No, I'm kidding. Well, listen. Thank you for your call, and we'll catch you on the next one. All right, man. Take it easy out there. All right.
Yeah, BDA. Are you on to our next call?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Gonzalo. Let's go to 914. 914, you're on the air. 914, what's on your mind?
What's up, BD Boxing Panel? How you guys doing?
Doing
Fernando
fantastic.
From New York.
Good.
Oh, Fernando from New York, man. Thank you for calling in, man. What's on your mind?
I wanted to bring the focus back to the welterweight division for a quick minute. What do you see Jaron and his boots getting an opportunity by a top American welterweight? And then I'm also going to say that, do you see the boxing markets, the foreign boxing markets developing to where American fighters might start going overseas for different opportunities? Like, for example, I think an earlier caller mentioned Jaron possibly fighting Conor Benn, because I don't think the opportunities domestically available for him. I don't see a Keith, Errol, or Terence giving him an opportunity.
Interesting question, man. I mean, Kell Brook and Errol Spence ended up fighting in England. I don't know, maybe the PBC didn't have any... Yeah.
That was, I think Floyd didn't want to unify with Kell Brook. Obviously, economically, it didn't make sense. Keith, I don't think he was... Kell wanted to stay in the United Kingdom, and he would only come over to the United States for big, big money. So Errol went, and he did what he was supposed to do. And it's because he got that belt in the UK by going into foreign territory and getting that belt that he's in the position that he's right now. He kind of, over that space of time, he's somewhat surpassed where Keith Thurman is and wants to once again be at.
I mean, it's I don't know, man. Guys, what do you think? Do you think there's ever going to be... Do you think Conor Benn's ever going to get to a point, for example, where he's going to be a big enough star that he's going to actually command people like Jaron Ennis to go over to the UK, or is that too far-fetched?
And I don't want to cut you guys off, but look at Virgil Ortiz. He fought Kavalauskas. Most American fighters would be like, "Oh, what am I going to get by fighting Ugas Kavalauskas?" Because it's a high-risk, low-reward fight. But he took it. He took it because he knew it would bump up his resume.
It's a fact. Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, look, I think in saying, and what would you like to see in your fighter, I think that it would be a nice statement if Boots is this guy, right? And I was confident, he's well above the competition level, right? There's a confidence that more than likely he's better than all these guys. Why not say, hey, let's try to make a fight with Conor Benn in England? You know what I'm saying? Showcase. But I know these guys, and I know people get upset when I say this, especially American fighters, especially certain demographics. They're just not built that way no more, bro. They don't have that. They don't got that it factor in them. That I could go to England and beat a upcoming star like myself in a Conor Benn. There's definitely I could definitely do that. And you don't see that. Everything is about getting the best fights that suit them in the best location. Kambosos said a lot of things that were correct, and this is obviously not in the same breath when it comes to Boots and Conor Benn. These guys they just want more accolades. Their egos are bigger than their accolades. Excuse me, that's what I meant to say. It's their ego. It's nothing that they've done in the ring. Outside of some showcase. Yeah. I mean, so Fernando, what do you think, man? Does that sort of answer your question a little bit? Do you agree, disagree?
Well, so do you see Ennis fighting the winner of Butayev and Stanionis?
Well,
I don't know.
If is that the one that's because I think Jaron Ennis, for some reason I know that he's high up in the IBF, right?
Right, but I don't see him getting an opportunity, because worst case scenario, let's say Errol Spence, I think it's in the Cowboy Stadium, he's going to fight Ugas, right? And Ugas knows, this is my chance. I'm getting Errol off of an injury. I'm coming off of a big Pacquiao win. If I'm ever going to, solidify my career with what do you call it, the pinnacle of his career, it's going to be there. So if Errol happens to get a decision against Yordenis Ugas, I don't think either one is going to stop each other. I see Errol going for undisputed only to snub Keith Thurman and also possibly solidify his legacy and become a Hall of Famer. I'm not saying Errol's going to win, but I see him using the undisputed because, once you unify titles, mandatories kind of get pushed aside.
Correct.
I mean, there were news a couple of weeks ago that supposedly Ennis was in line there was going to be some big event involving Jaron Ennis, and then they never talked about it. So I'm looking at the rankings here, the IBF welterweight rankings. Ennis is number 3, and then there's number 1 and 2 vacant. So he's probably, if he's going to get a title and you care about titles, then the IBF is the one that's probably in the line, down the line for Ennis. But other than that, man,
the road. I'm sorry, go ahead, BDA.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, but just real quick, other than that, caller, I think Jaron Ennis, I don't know if he's going to be able to make something happen. If he does fight and gets an opportunity to fight in England, he should take it because he probably can draw flies in the United States. Maybe Philadelphia. If he fights a big name, he could draw some numbers. But other than that, these guys need to go to where the money is. And sometimes, nowadays, that money is overseas. It's not in Vegas anymore. It's not in New York. We're not in the 1950s anymore where Madison Square Garden is the mecca of boxing. These guys need to wake up, smell the coffee. So, Fernando, we're going to move on to another call. I mean, we're going to move on, rather, but...
Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you,
man. Take it easy out there. Don't forget to hit the like button, fellas. Hit the like.
BDA, real quick, before you go to the next call. Yeah. You know, it's funny how they put Butayev and Stanionis, like, to fight each other with the possibility maybe one of those guys fight Butenis. So you see, you got two fighters carrying the heavy load and then fight him. You get what I'm saying? Right. So, like, confidence is not there, right? What I mean by that, they like what they see from Butenis and they want him to become a star, but they're also like, I don't know if I should put you in against Butayev just now. Let Butayev fight Stanionis, and let's see what happens with that. And then we'll entertain the idea of maybe you fighting one of the winner of the fight.
Right. I mean, it's all a big setup here. They're always thinking 2 steps down the line. I mean, I'm looking at the rankings here. WBO. No, sorry, that's 154. Welterweight. Here we go. The WBO is Terence Crawford. Errol Spence Jr. is the IBF. He's also WBC. And then you got the WBA. Ugas is the WBA Super World Welterweight Champion, and Butayev is the World Welterweight Champion. So, I mean, this is why I don't pay attention to this bullshit. It's just... I mean, the fact that they count the WBO, that's where I go, since when, man? Since when's the WBO a title that you got to watch out for? What's next, the IBO? Why not? Why not put in the IBO in there as well, or the IBA?
Might as well at this point. Yeah, might as well do it. Yeah, I'm sure that's coming.
Guys, we got to do something about this. We got to put a stop to this. We got to put our collective head power together and really try to make something happen. By the way, Butayev, who's Butayev again? He's the guy that...
Butayev is the guy that beat...
okay, yeah, I know, remember. He beat Jamal James.
Kid on Showtime, the tall, lanky dude.
Yeah.
He's a good fighter, you know, but he got beat up in that fight.
Yeah, neither him or Stanionis really. I mean, that's going to be a great fight, though, because they're both 2 powerhouses. But other than that, I don't really
Stanionis is tough, man. That's a tough dude.
Absolutely. So it should be good. But again, neither guy is I think, going to be the welterweight king for a long time in there. Hey, by the way, speaking of kings, let's move on to a queen, because we had a lot of fights this Saturday, and Clarissa Shields fought this Saturday, and I don't know if you guys saw the post-fight. First of all, I don't even know who these... I've heard the names like Savannah Marshall and this and that, and, you know, Jennifer, you know, fucking Stinky Pussy, but I don't really know who they are. So apparently, she ended up running into Savannah Marshall, who is significantly bigger here, it seems, than Clarissa Shields. So let me just show you the clip here. This is a post-fight press conference where Clarissa Shields ended up winning, and then this other female fighter ended up confronting her.
I think if you perform like that against me, I'll absolutely wipe the floor with you.
Do you want me to repeat it? She said if you perform like that against her, she's going to wipe the floor with you.
Oh, beautiful. Guess what? You couldn't wipe my drawers. You hear me? You can't do with me. You know what? And that's what I'm...
It's like watching 2 women in a prison talking to each other. You ain't gonna clean my drawers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Hold on.
That's what I'm saying. See, I ain't no punk. I'm not scared of you. That's why I'm here. You didn't come to America. I came here. I came here. You didn't come to me. I'm chasing you. We can go. Let's go. Win.
You ain't no motherfucking police. I'm in training day. I mean, can you imagine living with this broad? Every 2 seconds, it must be non-stop.
No, I'd rather be homeless.
Oh man!
No, I'm serious. I'd rather take my shot on the streets. I live in my car. Fuck it, you know.
I mean, it must be non-stop with this woman. Every time she probably makes a big deal out of everything. Like, you need to take out the trash. Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy. Sorry.
Oh, what's going on? What's up? What's up, guys? Man, I can't get past to wipe my drawers. Like, what are you trying to say, man? You got fucking doo-doo covered drawers, you nasty bitch. Right? Wipe my drawers. What the fuck you talking about? But no, Sarah Marshall's legit. Like, she's Irish, probably Europe's best female fighter by far. Like, she's
what does that mean?
Decorated. Well, she's one of the people I actually think she could beat Clarissa Shields.
Huh?
She really could.
Well, supposedly,
she's actually got power. Yeah, Clarissa Shields has no. Yes, brother.
Obviously, I don't follow women's boxing. You know, like, I'm very honest about that. I don't do the PR shit when it comes to that. It has no interest. I have no interest. But I heard people saying that Savannah beat her, but I'm looking at their records and I'm like, they're both undefeated. So when did they fight? Are they talking about sparring?
Maybe during the amateurs, I don't know, but I know Clarissa won 2 goals. I don't know if Sarah Marshall won any goals. My depth of women's boxing knowledge goes from watching Ring, and he goes into detail. So just by watching his videos, I can pretty much parrot some of the shit he's saying. But like, this girl's legit. Like, that was a big fight. And as far as big fights go too, this Jake Paul, for whatever everybody thinks of him, what he's doing in boxing. But if he's going to promote fights, I mean, this one with Serrano and the American that everybody's high on, that's going to be headlining in the Madison Square Garden. I guess they're talking about like a pre-sellouts, like the 3rd biggest ever. So, I mean, if he's, if he does good for women's boxing, good on him. But so those are like the 2 big fights everybody talks about is Shields and that broad who they had that screeching match, and then Serrano here in the United States against forgive me for not remembering her name. Oh, sad, but she's the one a lot of people think can beat. But
the other broad.
We're spending way too much time talking about women's boxing, man. But go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, I know. I was going to go to Boots Ennis. So with Boots, listen, he's in a fucked up position though, guys, because he's not really with the PBC. He's on the outside looking in. You know what I mean? Because he's with Showtime and Gary Shaw. He's not with the PBC, so he's really almost an island amongst himself. You know what I mean? So he would have to give a lot of concessions, I would imagine, to go with the PBC, including multiple fight deal. And supposedly Shaw doesn't want to do that. Maybe that's some of the reason why his resume is so thin after 30 pro fights, because, I don't know, maybe guys, like you said, recognize too, he's a big risk, low reward. So I think there's going to be some serious issues going forward with him finding dance partners, which sucks. But Keith, come on. Keith Thurman, he looked good. But then you got to stop and say, against who? Who's Mario Barrios? Other than PBC fodder for Heyman Stable. You know what I mean? Seriously, he absolutely lost a fight by outpunched by 125 punches by a kid with 7 pro fights, but they must have already picked him to be, Davis's next cherry pick. So of course he got the PBC special win, and goes and gets blown, knocked out by a career super featherweight, and then goes up to welterweight, and Keith KOs for life, baby. Fucking went all 12 with them. So if I was a fucking Thurman fan, I wouldn't be doing cartwheels over that performance. You know what I mean? I still think he's lunch food for any of the top welterweights today. I think they'd feast on him.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about him against Crawford, which, I mean, getting in line for another pay-per-view for that one. So, you gotta, from here on out, guys, save those $80 now. From here till they make that fight, because you're gonna need those $80 if you want to watch that fight. Now, why would you want to watch that fight?
Well, you could always.
I think that'll be, Sorry.
You can always
guys.
You could always stream the fight. So I know the PBC fanboys don't like that, but even though they stream fights.
Has anybody heard about the numbers?
I don't think we're gonna hear about the numbers anytime soon, man. I think they're gonna keep that.
Anybody had tweeted out any, you know what I mean, any rumors or
probably
any numbers
probably under 100,000, Jimmy.
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised
if my fucking life on that.
50.
BDA, can I give my thoughts on the Thurman fight real quick?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Thurman, he dominated Barrios, but the question is, can Thurman compete against the top welterweights? That's the big question. Okay, he showed up at 145.5 in shape. That was in shape, Keith Thurman, considering the long layoff. He's athletic, he moves around the ring. But I mentioned it on the podcast before the fight. This is what I said. It's the follow-up, and that's what Keith Thurman mentioned. He's not following up when he goes for the kill, when he's got a fighter hurt, and this is the reason why, he's got a pretty pronounced a hop when he goes for the kill. So that throws off his follow-up shots. It's like when you fire a gun. You might be pointing in the same place, but the recoil is going to throw your second shot off, even though you might be pointing at the same place. Why? Because when you're bouncing around and you're touching down on the canvas and you're ready to string your shots together to have that follow-up and go for the kill, you're not landing in the same place you're pointing to. And that also goes, because the opponent is also moving. Now, Keith Thurman, the opponent is moving. He's moving. He's got the upper hand because he's pretty defensively responsible. He stays on he punches on the fly, and it's hard for the opponent to catch up to him as far as tracking him down. He's the one doing the tracking down. But it comes to a point where the opponent reads his movements, and if he's doing something so many times over,
it's predictable.
He's predictable, and that's why he's getting hurt on a continual basis. Every fight that he fights, even though it's against a lesser opponent, they're threading the needle because he's jumping up and down. He's moving side to side in one way too many times over that he gets caught.
I said that earlier. I said that earlier about him getting hurt to the body, and that's another point too. That's why his power, and that's why he can't finish up, because this is a guy who's constantly relying on his fast footwork, his fast, leg work, and in the fight, he kind of takes away, he's taken away from himself basically, and then also it's allowing him to get hurt because he's predictable. He's jumping in and out, moving side to side, hit him to the body. He's not flexing when you move him to side to side. You're not flexing your core.
That's right. You're remaining pliable. That means if he's jumping up and down, there's a weak spot in there. Because I mentioned that loosey goosey, you're not tensing your body up. You're not locking to take a punch is not natural. It's not normal that a human being has to go through the experience to take a punch and survive it. So, but when you go into fighting, you gotta lock your body up. But when you're jumping and up and down like a bunny rabbit and you get caught in mid-flight or as you're coming down, dude, that's gonna shake you up particularly because you're not locking your body up. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. That gives you the advantage because you're moving around and it makes it harder for your opponent to get you. But like you said, recognize, and I mentioned it, when you're doing it too many times over, your opponent's going to read your movement. You might be beating the other guy thoroughly, but then he's going to thread the needle and get you like Barrios did, like the opponent before that and the opponent before that. So when it comes to the elite level, man, he's going to go through some rough patches. Well, he keeps surviving them. That's what we'll have to find out.
Yeah, man. I mean, when I look, go ahead, Jimmy.
I was going to say it's just wasted movement. And that's, you try to train that out of somebody. Wasted movement. Somebody that's usually, too nervous energy. A lot of guys will just too much movement. It takes the best fighters are the guys who stay calm in the pocket. Not, if their movement has a reason. Guys who are jumping around when there's no reason to do that, it's usually attributed to nerves. But that's all.
That's why I don't understand how boxing fans don't understand. It makes me wonder about them. It's like, that's how he fights. He's not nervous. I'm like, no, it's actually anybody that moves away from a guy they're fighting. Is that they're not confident staying still and exchanging punches with that person and making that person miss from the pocket, and hitting him with the better shots. The obvious sign of somebody who's nervous is when he's backing up. There's no other way to explain that with just understanding a fight. You have to have been in a fight to understand that. There's nothing wrong with moving back to reset and then come back forward. Yeah, I get that. But when you're backing up the way he's doing, you're using your legs, you're running around the ropes, shit like that. That's nervous energy. That's what that is.
Especially when you're going for the kill. He needs to dial it down where when he throws his follow-up shots, he's not bouncing all over the place, but for him to line up that second shot, it's damn near impossible because the opponent's also moving. Okay, the opponent's dangerous, but it will probably best serve him to dial it down, plant his feet on the canvas, follow up, and be prepared to expect some fire coming down the other way, instead of bouncing around because you could get knocked out like that too.
Yeah, because like I also said earlier, that he buckled Porter's knees twice. He also stunned Danny Garcia, who's got an iron chin. So the guy can crack, but it's just how he delivers the payload. That's the main problem right there. And he's not very good at letting those combos fly when it comes when the time comes. He's more of a one at a time, punch at a time type guy. Hey, real quick, let me read a super chat here. Shout out to Kenshiro for his contribution with the super chat. He says, Clarissa Shields speaks like Brenda from Scary Movie. I don't know if you guys how many people have seen Scary Movie, but yeah, it's true. It's just it's annoying, man. I think it's gotta be she's gotta be the most annoying person in boxing. If not the most annoying, then one of the most annoying.
I don't follow her that much, but the little clips that I have seen, yeah, she's annoying. Like I could care less about a girl like that.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to Joe.
Her Twitter fans are. Oops, sorry.
Shout out to Joe Crypt for his contribution with the super chat. Says, what are your thoughts on Montana Love? Do you think he will take Teofimo at 140? Montana Love looks crazy and I want to see him in big fights. All right. Shout out to Joe Crypt for his contribution. Yeah, what do you guys think about Montana Love? He had that big win over Ivan Baranchik. Although, again, it was Baranchik that looked a little bit, worn down, I would say. But what do you guys think about Montana Love at 140?
He looks all right. He looks pretty all right. I think, because if Teofimo just comes into the right mindset, he probably knocks that dude out. But who knows? You know what I'm saying? Like who knows? Maybe this kid, like maybe that's a bad matchup for a guy like Teofimo with his emotional problems, and you can see how it's easy to take him out of his game plan. Since the Lomachenko, well, look, he's only had 2 fights. He's only had 1 fight since the Lomachenko fight. But if he can like go back to the basics, the way he fought when he fought Lomachenko, I don't think this kid is ready. Be a natural 140 pounder anyway.
Yeah, I was trying to get to his record, BoxRec, but I can't. For some reason, BoxRec is not letting me go in there, and they want you to sign up now. Fuck, I'm gonna give you more. Yeah, I gotta give my email away more times now so I can get you your newsletter. Get the fuck out of here.
Montana Love's pretty good, BDA. He's like, I don't know, maybe he's the closest guy that fights similar to like what a Mayweather. Not a pretty boy, but the other guy, the older guy. But he's not as defensive as most of these Americans that we have gotten of late. He's a little more offensive. He mixes it up. That's pretty good. You said it's hard to break away from a certain style like the Cubans. They're kind of cookie cutter. Most guys from the same country. Yeah, okay. Montana Love is like that, but he's also a little bit more aggressive than other guys. He's pretty precise.
That's why I say he gets knocked out against Teofimo. Yeah, Teofimo knocks that boy out.
By the way, speaking of Teofimo Lopez, apparently they're trying to max. I don't know if it's a rumor that maybe he would move up to 140 and take on Barboza. So you can tell Top Rank's not gonna baby him. He's coming back with a loss. They got him by the short and curlies, and they're gonna say, "Hey, you want back in our good graces? You gotta take on some good, strong opposition."
But everything into consideration, this is if Teofimo could get over himself, and just like you could still be a drama queen and be like, "Oh, my depression, my ex-wife, my baby," all that shit. That's fine. But just like when you in the ring, take care of business.
Exactly. Hey, he did not take care of business in his last fight, so he really needs to step it up and get himself some help, straighten himself out. He needs to go out there and get some pussy. That's what I think. Forget about your ex-wife.
That should be easy for a guy like him. That should be easy.
Yeah, forget about the ex-wife, man. The best way to do that, come over to Montreal. We'll go to a strip club. You'll forget all about your ex-wife. Trust me. By the way, I'm looking at Montana Love's record. Yeah, he took on Baranchik in the summer, and then about 4 months later, he took on Carlos Diaz. Forget which undercard. That was on the undercard of Haney versus Diaz. Okay, so he fought on the zone then. I don't know if they could make a Teofimo Lopez fight there, but I mean, it's a Montana Love. That's a guy to keep an eye on, man. He's quick. He can crack a little bit. He did have a hard time making weight, I believe, for the last fight, but we'll see.
And he was on that yoga bullshit like Keith Thurman.
Get away with the fucking yoga. Actually, anyway, we'll talk about it later.
Did you guys talk about that kid Ford, that robbery in the zone card, the zone fighter?
Actually, Jimmy, just real quick, because I got to get a phone call here.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go to 214. You're on the air. 214. What's on your mind?
Hey, yeah, it's me. It's from Justin from Texas. I want to talk about Barrios. I think they're doing him bad. Yeah. I think they're doing him bad. You know, he shouldn't have been in there with Keith Thurman. You know, Barrios is he's a young guy. He can still rebuild, but instead of, you know, getting him something, you know, a little bit easier or something that's not easy but challenging but not too much, something overwhelming.
He's the crash dummy. He's the crash dummy.
Yeah, they're going to
Mexican fighters.
They're going to stunt his growth. You know, him getting beat up by a full-grown welterweight who's smarter, faster, and overall better than him.
Yeah, I couldn't get over the fact that Joe Goosen kept, and I like Joe Goosen, he's a very underrated trainer, but he kept saying, wow, Barrios just looks so much bigger than Keith Thurman. I'm thinking, he looks taller. He doesn't look bigger, man. Taller doesn't necessarily mean bigger, man. There's plenty of guys that are taller than I am, but I'm fucking built like a linebacker. I got a big-ass back and big bulging biceps. So, of course, I'm going to look bigger than these guys, but nobody looks at that and goes, hey, man, these guys, you know what I mean? I'm a monster, but yeah, people got to get used to that. And they do get used to that. But I don't understand
Some say you're a butterfly, but yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying.
I don't know what that means, but yeah, man. Well, I mean, Barrios, like you said, Justin, he was undersized, underexperienced. He didn't have the firepower necessary to keep Thurman honest, but they kept harping on he looks bigger, which he didn't.
Well, because they knew that whoever was watching just paid $80 for that trash. They had to sell it some way, right?
Yeah.
It's true, man.
Yeah, no, BDA, you're 100% right. Like, there's no way Barrios was wider than him. I mean, I don't see that.
Nah, Keith Thurman looked great. 145 and a half. You know,
he looked strong, man.
He looked good. He looked strong. Yeah.
Justin, I'm curious. Did you pay for the pay-per-view, or did you watch it in another venue,
another dimension?
No, I didn't pay for it. I watched it on YouTube. People are going to the fights and videotaping them and putting it on YouTube.
Man, it's a brave new world out there, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Be careful how you say that, because there might be some fanboys that you upset.
Yeah. As for Keith,
they're listening.
He was wasting energy. Yeah, as for Keith, he was wasting energy, but he was also using angles as well. So he looked good, but you know how it is. Keith always gets hurt to the body. It's not a Keith fight without him getting hurt to the body. And like as for Montana Love, he's a good fighter. Montana Love is good, but you know in his last fight they got him a very stationary target to make him look good. I didn't like that. I thought they should actually get him someone that was actually a little bit challenging.
And he couldn't even stop him, man. So at the end of the day, yeah.
I got one more. There's this guy named Jesus Ramos at 154. That's the guy you need to watch out for. He's very good. He's very confident in the pocket. And he's a good counter puncher. He's a good fighter. You should watch.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go. I'm done.
No, I was impressed, man, with that performance against Vladimir Hernandez. You know, the guy went up from 47 to 54. That Jesus Ramos guy, he's big, dude. The nickname is El Mono. Yep. I think it translates to the dummy. He looks like one of them big Mexican henchmen from the old time movies, you know. He's a big dude. He's like,
his name is El Bobo, right?
El Mono. The dummy or
El Mono. Okay, El Mono.
Yeah. He's a big guy, and he took some punishment, but he dished it out, and he took out the rugged Vladimir Hernandez. That was a good fight.
We need more punchers in boxing. Enough of these people going for decisions. I want people to get taken out. I want to see blood. I want to see people unconscious being carried out on stretchers. That's what I want. Is that too much to ask, man? Especially for you.
I want to be entertained. I want a boxer to scream. Are you not entertained? while his opponent is lifeless.
Hey, well, listen, Justin, we got to move on, man. But anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, I'm good. Thank you guys for keep it up. Enjoying the show.
Thank you, man. Thank you for your call. Call back next time. All right. Yeah, El Mono. I got to see that one. Gonzalo, what was that on? Was that on the Zone or was that on the PBC? Which?
I think it was on the PBC because Ramos had fought Ugas and Ugas is PBC. So I'm thinking, him and his cousin fought at the PBC. Ramo was the guy on the show. He's pretty good, the older cousin. But he leaves it on the line to where the fights are close. And I know Jimmy's mentioned that it was a robbery. No, but his cousin he took the spotlight this time, and he made a name for himself by beating Vladimir Hernandez, who had beat Julian Williams and who had beat Angulo. So now this guy becomes a player, probably a top 6, probably a top 5.
Is that who he beat? He beat the guy that beat Julian Williams. Huh.
Yeah. Vladimir Hernandez had beat Julian Williams. Now this guy beat the guy that beat Julian Williams.
Okay,
this guy he moved up from 47 to 54. And I was watching his body. He's a big dude, having a dehydrating cut down to 54 now, and you could see it he's got like a big cranium. Like I say, he looks like the old henchman from the black and white movies.
Hey, speaking of black and white, did you guys see who here saw the Eubank versus Williams fight?
I saw the
highlights.
I saw the highlights. Yeah.
Really? You didn't see the fight? Yeah. Who else?
I saw the Cliff Note version too.
He was trying to emulate Roy Jones way too much.
Yeah, that's what I got from that BDA. He was trying to emulate Roy, and it actually looked bad. He looked bad in a lot of moments doing that.
It was a weird fight, man.
Williams, I thought, but he didn't.
Well, I mean, it was a weird fight, Jimmy, because Chris Eubank is usually an inside fighter. And
he dropped him like 3 or 4 or 5 times, some shit like that.
It was weird. It was like with these weak jabs, it was Williams ran into them himself.
Yeah, Williams was running right into that shit. Yep.
But Chris Eubank, I mean, I don't understand why he's trying to fight like Roy Jones. I mean, it's a weird thing. In a way, I like seeing a guy trying new things. On the other hand, he wasn't throwing that many shots. I mean, Recognize said, he ended up dropping Williams about 3 times within the first 4 rounds. But then afterwards, he wasn't landing much. He was just running around the ring, trying to do his best Roy Jones impersonation, except without the punching. And he was shaking his ass, showboating. And it was actually, after a while, it was Liam Williams that was landing the meaningful shots, but it's just he was way too far behind. And he got dropped afterwards too, late in the fight, which shouldn't have been a knockdown. But I mean, I don't know, it was just a weird performance. What do you guys think about Chris Eubank Jr. based on what you saw? Do you guys think this guy's got something?
If you can't have your own identity, even though you're adopting another famous fighter and you're doing pretty good, but you can't have your own identity, what does that say about yourself in the elite level? You know, when you're supposed to do things the way that they work best for you, in the sense that if you got it, you got it. And if you don't, why you're taking some other guy's identity and you're fighting against fighters that are going to make you look good doing that. But you're not having your own identity fighting the best fighters out there. Therefore, you're like a sideshow. You're like a sideshow.
He's got Roy Jones as his trainer, so that I don't think that's a good move on his part. You know, that's basically why he's fighting like Roy Jones, or he's trying to do, you know, the stupid antics as Roy. But it's like you got a guy who's like, I don't see, you know, never mind that. I don't see no growth in him. I haven't seen any growth in Eubank. Okay, he's talking about he wants to fight the winner. Oh, he wants to fight Triple G, or the winner of. I don't even know if Triple G is going to fight the Japanese guy anytime soon. But he keeps talking about that. It's like, does he have a shot against those guys? Whoever wins, does he ever recognize? He has a decent shot. I think if it's real quick, Gonzalo. I think if it's Triple G, let's say Triple G fights the Japanese guy Murata, and he beats him impressively, and he shows that he still got something in him. Does anybody think from that performance that this guy could beat a guy like Triple G?
Probably not, because he's not fighting the top guys, and you said it better than I did. This is what I was trying to say. There's no real growth in him, so now he's taking another style that's not necessarily his. So he's growing. He's not growing in his own development. He's growing and emulating somebody else's style. So he's not really figuring out who he really is against the elite level. So when you're mentioning that if he fights another guy that's on the elite level, we will never know, because he's not He's not bringing that out of himself. He's not developing as a fighter. He didn't grow as a fighter. He took somebody else's style way past what was considered maybe his prime years now in the developmental stage, because now he's like 33, right? Yeah. He's not developing anymore. He's taking somebody else's style.
It's not going to be second nature. When you're at that age, you've been fighting that long, you shouldn't have to think about it. It's all second nature. Your style, second nature. And the reason why I like to recognize point, it just looked off because he was thinking in there too much. Like he's trying to adapt his style. But I've never really considered. I don't know why. I've never felt like he was a part of boxing. It left such a bad taste in my mouth when the whole throw away the pen thing back in 2017. That's how long ago that was. Or actually 2016. And it was all because at the last minute his father wanted to control who the announcer was. It was just nutty shit. And that's when that's when the whole Triple G, it was all signed, ready to go. Remember, that's when Eddie Hearn released him. Released him and said, "You're not even with him anymore."
When he fought Kell Brook, people don't realize he was actually there to fight Eubank. That was
exactly, brother. They had the date, they had the arena, it was all set. It was just right at the last minute when he was going to sign the contract, his father said, "You know what? I don't want him announcing. That's a deal breaker if that guy doesn't announce." And then he said something about it was some other silly thing, and that's when I guess Eddie in his he gave like a 20-minute. He broke it all down. He said, "I lost my mind at that point," and he said he was jerking around, and Brooks stepped up and took it for the $3 million. But since then, I've never really considered him. I think he's going to fight Billy Joe Saunders. I think it's just a question of them getting the right money to Saunders, and it'll be kind of a Brookish Khan thing. It'll be a rematch between them two, because remember, he's the one who handed him a loss too. It wasn't just Groves. So
Billy Joe Saunders is going to
thing on him.
Billy Joe Saunders is gonna outbox him again. I mean, the book is out on Chris Eubank Jr. He can't really box all that much. And on the other hand, though, I mean, he did beat Liam Williams this past Saturday. He ended up dropping him, and you know what? It wasn't that much worse of a performance than the one that Andrade showed against Liam Williams. So that's another knock on Andrade. The fact that he struggled against Liam Williams, and Chris Eubank actually did tiny little bit better than him. So. Andrade needs to step it up, man. He needs to stop talking and actually start fighting. Let's go to a phone call here real quick. Let's go to 301. 301, you're on the air. 301, what's on your mind?
Hey, guys. I'd like to echo all your points on the Eubank fight. The Roy Jones Tribute Act is definitely getting stale. I noticed that he was really fishing for that lunging left hook that Roy knocked out Montel Griffin with, which is why his lead hand was like the only active hand all fight. He seems to be getting like a little more tentative as he's getting older, though his body looks the same, which I guess is kind of impressive. But Jimmy, on the note of the announcer selection controversy, I must disagree. For having Barry McQuiggan is the Warriors code, Jimmy. It's the Warriors code.
Is that what McGuigan always says?
No, that's what Eubank Sr. He is always going on and on about the Warriors code, and there's like a really funny clip of Eddie Hearn doing an impression of him. Like, it's the Warriors code, Eddie. Oh, actually, he calls him Edward, even though he's known Eddie Hearn since he was 12 or something.
I can't hear anybody.
Sorry about that. Yeah, go ahead. Keep going, caller.
Woo. So I really wanted to talk about some news that came out recently. Apparently, Tim Tszyu is in talks or something to fight Terrell Gaucher. And I think that's pretty interesting and a potentially good sign. As Gaucher.
This is Tim Tszyu?
Yeah,
Tim Tszyu?
BDA, were you saying something?
No, keep going.
Sorry, it's hard to hear you guys. It's like the line's really choppy.
It's a delay.
Yeah, keep going, man. Keep going. Yeah.
But I think it's a good sign, right? Because he's fighting a PBC fighter, which suggests that they're seeing Tzew's marketing power and would like to kind of maybe expand that market. And at his weight class, the PBC kind of owns everything. So I think that would be a good sign. I really would like to see, after all dust settles at that division, Tszyu fight Madrimov, because they both kind of have
like this kind of leaping athletic style, I think it would make for a really good fight. Like the two guys taking really big risks. Sorry, what was that recognized? Like, I guess I can't hear you guys, so I'm just gonna wrap it up and say, like, I think that'd be an exciting fight to look forward to. Anyway,
can't hear us.
Keep listening to the show.
What do you mean? What do you mean by leaping? Like leaping in the
can't hear
that,
you.
Yeah, but to you guys, like in the hook that Canelo landed to Billy Joe Saunders, that style where you leap to throw shots. I think Madrimov did that against his opponent, and yeah, I could see that.
No, it was he. I'm sorry, but was he talking about Madrimov versus Tim Tszyu?
No, he's talking about Terrell.
I'm comparing the punch.
Oh, okay, you're comparing the punch. Okay. No, well, he was talking about Terrell Garcia. Terrell Garcia apparently is going to be stepping up against Tim Tszyu, and Wikipedia already has that one penned up. They're saying it's March 19th, so I think that's tentative in LA, by the way. So Tim Tszyu would be fighting in the United States, which doesn't really need to, by the way. But again, that's another guy that understands that maybe sometimes it's good to fight abroad to try to get more recognition. Because in Australia already, he draws a pretty good crowd. So the fact that
it's because he said the leaping style. I was just curious why he said that. The leaping
I didn't hear
style.
what he said, man.
Leaping style.
Yeah, I'll take his word for it. I mean, I don't know because I didn't hear him, man. I didn't hear nothing that he said. All I heard was...
I'll try to fix that, man. But real quick, shout out to Medardo Garcia for his contribution with the Super Chat. He says, I want Loma to become undisputed because he's going to give everybody a shot at the titles. Yeah, shout out to Medardo for his contribution. So do I, man. I mean, I don't see see Loma avoiding anybody.
I know these these chicken heads that don't want the fight to happen. That's the one thing that they can never debate. Whether or not Lomachenko will actually fight these dudes, because I'm willing to bet that if Devin Haney or maybe even Ryan Garcia, if they were to get those belts, they're gone, bro. Or they're just gonna be like, if Lomachenko wants to fight me, he has to understand A side, B side.
That's that voice, man.
The biggest advantage is
because everything is about A side, B side. That's the most important thing when it comes to boxing.
The biggest advantages that the chicken has is youth and size. So that only becomes a more equal or bigger advantage for the chicken heads as time goes by. So yeah, they'll probably age them out a little longer.
Oh yeah,
where it becomes more of an even playing field for them.
Yeah, and once they beat him, they'll fight. If they beat him in a super close decision, the way Teofimo Lopez did, they'll go, I beat him, I whooped him. His fans are gonna go, yeah, he whooped him, yeah, baby. It's like, all right, here we go. That's the way it works.
Exactly.
Let's go to a phone call here. Let's go to 619. 619, you're on the air. 619, what's on your mind?
Yo, you guys hear me?
Yes, indeed. Go ahead, please.
Yo, what's up, guys? What's up, Gonzalo, man? How want to call in and just check in with Gonzalo, man. How you doing, dude? Are you is everything all good on your end over there?
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, what's up? Everything's all right. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, because you're from San Diego too, right? I think you're originally from San Diego, 619.
Yeah, I was born in San Diego. I was raised in TJ, went to school in San Diego, and back and forth there, and I joined the military.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's what's up. So, do you ever get a chance to come out to, are you going to come out and watch the Chocolatito fight in a few weeks coming up?
Chocolatito fight.
Bro, you gotta
against
remember
against Martinez, that's gonna be a good fight. I think I'm gonna bet that Martinez, he should be. I don't know who's favored because Chocolatito's an all-time great, but it's a young man's game, and this guy's supposed to be the next big thing, but he's also moving up in weight. I would slightly favor Chocolatito actually, but I wouldn't doubt that maybe Ray Martinez takes it. That's a good fight, man.
Yeah, listen, caller, there's a lot of wind on your microphone, so thank you for asking about Gonzalo, but we got to move on to another caller, right, man? Try to call back if you're somewhere a little bit more quiet. All right, man, take it easy.
Okay, thank you.
He's asking about Gonzalo. We got the Gonzalo fight.
That's a good fight, BDA. Rey Martinez versus El Chocolatito. The replacement for what's it, Estrada?
Yeah, some people are already saying that they're setting up Chocolatito to fail, but I gotta tell you, this Martinez guy, he's a little bit like Kid Galahad in the sense that he leaves himself very open. So I mean, not Kid Galahad. What was it? Yeah.
The thing about that though, BDA, that he's a switch hitter on the fly, so he can transition from left to right hand without having to switch his feet, meaning that he punches hard with both hands, and he'll probably take a shot to land his, but the fact that he can switch on the fly makes him real dangerous. If he can soak up your shot and he retaliate like he usually does, he's a machine, right?
Yeah,
he just keeps going forward.
He was, I don't know, that unorthodox. He's a little bit like Fernando Montiel. He doesn't lead with jabs. You know what I mean? He doesn't jab his way to his offense. He just springs and we were talking about leaping shots. That's a guy that just leaps with lead left hooks or right hands, and he's very open, man. Very open. I mean, you saw what happened against the last guy he fought, which ended up getting stopped early by Arroyo. And Arroyo was a well-schooled guy, strong. He was tagging him flush. So can't imagine how it will be easy against Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. But we'll stay tuned for that one.
He reminds me, BDA. Sorry, BDA. He reminds me of like Ruben Olivares. Remember that guy? Real like I don't know, man. In the sense that they're from the capital of Mexico, like this guy that fought Gervonta Davis, Pitbull Cruz. They have a hard head. Right, they have a hard head, and they're a little unorthodox and maybe a little sloppy, but they got heavy hands, and they come forward, and aesthetically, they might not seem like real pleasing to watch, but he's a whirlwind of a fighter. Make no mistake about that. He's a tornado. Same thing could be said about Chocolatito, but a polished version. Yeah, Chocolatito's about Rey Martinez, the guy that's going to face Chocolatito Gonzalez.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, he reminds me a little bit more of Montiel. Fernando Montiel. He's more of a he'll leap in with shots when you least expect them. He feints a lot. I don't know how he's gonna handle Chocolatito's style though, because Chocolatito's just gonna pressure him, and Chocolatito's defense is pretty good too. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Real quick, shout out to Texas Bulldog Boxing who contributed with the super chat. He says, "BS Lomachenko requested franchise when Haney was up." Oh, we're still gonna get into the whole fucking franchise thing.
Oh man, he didn't request shit. It was brought to the whatever, man. Shut up, man. Just shut up. Just worry about who Haney that Haney doesn't lose the fight to Ryan Garcia. Worry about that.
Yeah, worry that he doesn't slip up against Jojo Diaz the way he almost did. I mean, the fact that Lopez and Lomachenko fought, that was a more significant fight than Haney, who at that point had gone 12 rounds against the great and dangerous Yordenis Gamboa. I mean, wow, man! I can see Lomachenko trembling.
Yeah, worry about Devin Haney being the first guy to win a fight without knocking out Gamboa and Linares. Worry about that, bro.
Yeah, he needs to. They're always talking about that. Oh, go ahead, Jimmy. Sorry.
No, he's getting an aversion to flying, obviously, too, or his father. Like, I love the language. They're going to control the narrative. Like he said, we're going to get rid of stop with the narrative that has to be in Australia. It's not a narrative. The guy who actually went in and fought fucking Lopez and won his belts. He's a true champion, and he took it through blood. And he says, I want to fight in Australia. I mean, I just don't understand Haney's. He says he keeps coming out saying, I agree to all the terms, except for Australia, where the kid wants to fight. And he's saying he could make it's, better here. I'm going to put the question to you guys. Do you think Haney's a bigger star here than Gamboa is in Australia?
No.
Jimmy, so what? Would you say he's got an aversion to flying? Is he like Richie Valens now? He doesn't want to get on the plane. Remember? Richie!
Fucking good time. What was that from? Was that from La Bamba or what's that from?
La Bamba. Yeah, La Bamba.
La Bamba.
Yeah, he did the coin toss with Buddy Holly or one of them guys.
It's always about Richie. What about me?
Oh, man. All right, listen, let's go to phone call here real quick. Let's go to 773. 773, you're on the air. 773, what's on your mind?
What's up?
Oh, Kevin, what's up, man?
What's up, bros?
Oh, here comes Kevin. How you doing, Kevin?
Bros. Hey, let's talk about something real quick. Let's talk about that English fight over the weekend. Liam Williams versus the other dude, Eubanks. Liam Williams, they're hyping this dude up. They're hyping up this fight. This dude's getting dropped with jabs. And then after the fight, Eubanks says, I didn't want to finish him. I wanted to punish him. It's just typical English bullshit, man. Typical English bullshit. No, I didn't want to finish him. I wanted to punish him. You know what would have punished him? Is if you would have went out there and knocked him out. That's a severe punishment, severe concussions. Instead, he tried to do this bullshit. Oh, blah, blah, blah. But Liam Williams, I mean, that dude shit the bed. What the hell kind of performance was that? Just pathetic. Just pathetic all around. Well, I got to say, what's funny is they were hyping up that fight. They were hyping up that fight. Oh, this is a good fight. This is a banger, this and that. And they were shitting on the Barrios-Thurman fight. Saying, oh, this Barrios-Thurman fight is trash. And that one ended up being the better fight. Go figure.
It's a good point, man. I mean, but it's true. I forgot about that. I forgot about that. That Chris Eubank after the fight goes, I probably could have stopped him, but I didn't want to. Come on, you didn't want to stop the guy? You mean you don't want to get a good performance so you can get paid more in your next fight? Get the fuck out of here. This guy, Chris Eubank Jr. So Kevin, what
the
else?
accent again? Do his imitation again?
I can't do it on the fly, Jimmy, man.
Okay, dude, that was funny as back, dude.
Was that Kevin?
Yeah, I was going to say about this.
We can't hear you over the bullets flying around you.
Who the hell wants to go to Australia? I mean, they got a freaking internment camp over there. Authoritarian, like straight up Nazi regime with their lockdowns. Who the hell would want to go there? So I don't blame him for not wanting to go to Australia. But the fact of the matter is, he's got no pool, man. He's got no pool. The ball is in Kambosos' court, and he can pick who he wants. That's pretty much how it goes.
That's the key, Kevin.
You can pick and choose who the hell you want to play.
Kambosos, I said if Kambosos, if he stands on his, on his own 2 feet, he's more likely going to say, I want that fight in Australia. And it's turning out to be that way. And I said it. I don't think Haney's the guy that would do it. I don't think he is. Now, look, whatever's happening in Australia, politically, yes, it's terrible and stuff like that. But there are guys that would say, yeah, I don't give a fuck. I'll go over there. I'll go over there and fight you. And I know that one of the guys for sure that would do it, in fact, I know he would do it, is Lomachenko.
Kevin, Pacquiao, he went up there, but, they're...
Well, no, Pacquiao, listen, we know Pacquiao. Pacquiao's just, can do this.
Well, I got to tell you, Kevin just hung up, man. He didn't even say goodbye. Kevin, you got to call. That's unacceptable. You got to call back.
Well, he was getting shot at. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you were trying to intimate that he was in Chicago getting shot. I mean, come on, man.
I can't hear you over the gunshots, bro. I'm sorry. I can't hear you.
All right, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 561. 561, you're on the air. 561, what's on your mind?
Good. This Black Chibi. How y'all doing?
Oh, Chibi, what's on your mind, man?
What up, Chibi?
Chibi. Oh no. It's real brief, and I know LT wouldn't believe me, but I was honestly going for Barrios this fight because I think he's a cornball, and if he were to get the belt, all he is just fucking just going back through that again.
All right, Chibi, I gotta interrupt you, man. You're breaking up, man. You're breaking up. Are you outside or on a cellular telephone or something?
Can you?
Nah, man.
Can you hear me now?
Nah, man, you're breaking up. Listen, try to get yourself sequestered in a local, more balanced place and call back, right, man?
What's wrong, Chibi? Keith Thurman is not black enough for you?
Oh, come on! First of all, Gonzalo, he can't even
look,
reply.
Man, I'm gonna call back.
Yeah, call back, man. Call back because we can't hear you. You're breaking up. And then Gonzalo's not helping with his comment. I'm trying to establish here to tell Chibi what's up with his connection.
It's the truth. It's the truth, BD.
Gonzalo, it
Like
all
the
comes
movie.
down to that light skin versus dark skin, man. That's what it all comes.
It's the truth. It's like the movie, The Firm. You can't handle the truth.
That it wasn't a firm. It was a few good men.
Right.
A few good men. Yeah.
That's right.
Hey, here. Speaking of black.
Be black, baby, be black. Oh!
That's right, baby. That's 1970s recognized as a song. You know what I mean?
Am I black enough?
Got that black force energy, baby. That's what you need. That's what Thurman.
You need to keep playing that music, Jack. That's what you need to do. You playing.
Thurman needs to start embracing his black side more because right now he's too much. I showed you that clip right on Second Renaissance when he's going over to the bookstore and he's buying the Keys of Solomon. Actually, it wasn't the Keys of Solomon. It was Keys of Enoch or something like that. So I made a mistake there. It wasn't the same book, but it's still the same thing. It's still esotericism. It's against our religion. And if I ever speak to Keith Thurman, I'm going to get him into the path of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and away from sorcery and all that type of those dark arts. Hey, speaking of the dark arts, this is something that I wanted to bring up in the last episode. Anthony Joshua still coming out with comments, and he said, "I'll beat Usyk without a trainer." Now, is he talking about beating Usyk himself?
I don't need a trainer. Yeah, you see, I grew up idolizing Larry Hoover. Larry Hoover.
I mean, first of all, why is this loss? Was this loss more damaging than the Ruiz one?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know. I can't say, but I think the 12-round beating that he just took, right? Like, not beating, like, he just got outworked, outboxed, everything, outthought. And then in the 12th round, he almost gets like fucking dropped, at the very least. I think it's fucking with him, yeah. And then you got, Tyson Fury, his countryman, making fun of him, saying you lost to a little steroid head, and saying you blew the biggest fight. I think he's going through a little crisis right now. You know what I'm saying? Like in his mind, he's like, man, he's questioning himself a little too much. He's, he went from GQ, smiling, happy athlete, good-looking athlete to, a gangster disciple, So come on.
Jimmy, what do you think? Do you think this was more damaging psychologically than losing to Fat Luis? Because at least with Luis, he sort of told himself, okay, it was a fluke, right? This guy came in, yeah.
Well, for me, I would, if it was me personally, I would say it would be more damaging with Ruiz just because. It was because nobody even considered him a chance to win. Whereas everybody in this panel, I do believe, had Ruiz. Picked Usyk to win. So, like, you know what I mean? So, like, competition-wise, skill-wise, to me, I would much rather lose to somebody that good than get, knocked out because I was too busy doing Instagram model bullshit the day before the fight, not taking it serious. So I would think psychologically, but the combination of the shit Fury saying, the second loss, a lot of people are really kind of going hard at him. Yeah, exactly. You start throwing all that in, dude. Yeah, I think he's in because that's a silly comment. I can do without a trainer. A trainer isn't there just to fucking tell you, okay, now you're going to punch the bag, then now you're going to do you know what I mean? It's there to fucking all the other shit get you motivated and push you and work, Very, very few people can push it to the ultimate limit all the time by themselves. So I just think, I don't know, it sounds to me like he's more frustrated that he can't find somebody that he likes maybe to train him.
The reason why he's taking it hard is because he's getting thrown shots. He's taking it worse, the Usyk loss. First of all, he hasn't rematched him. Second, you got the, people from the peanut gallery throwing peanuts at him like Tyson Fury, saying, oh, you blew the biggest fight. How can you lose to this small Ukrainian guy? You're a big dosser and all that stuff. That's why he's taking that hard, because like Jimmy said, he got knocked out by Andy Ruiz. He got knocked out. And yeah, I'm sure he didn't feel great about it, but he had a rematch clause. He went in there and he took care of business. Now, that hasn't happened with Usyk. But right now, he looks like he's going through an identity crisis. His second loss, Tyson Fury making fun of him. You're nothing but a loser. You're going to get knocked out in the second fight. if you guys rematch again, you should take step beside money. You're a bum. This and this and that. It's a combination. He's letting it get to him. Yep.
And maybe it's also that in his heart of hearts, he knows he can't beat Usyk, because really, what is he going to do? Because it doesn't historically favor the guy who loses in the rematch. Because just as people say, well, now he's figured Usyk out now after 10 rounds or after 12 rounds, the same can apply to Usyk. He already sees how this guy moves, his rhythm, his punching power. Because whether he didn't try to like bum rush him and beat him up, he still threw, when he threw power shots, he was putting everything behind it. So, you know what I mean? Going in, I would imagine he's kind of like maybe even second guessing himself, which is a bad place to be.
Yeah, that's the way it seems like, man, because after the fight, everyone was, well, Joshua, why did he box against Usyk? He should have gone after him. Yeah, but we were saying that before the fight, that he wasn't going to do that because that's not his style. He's a boxer puncher, and he thought he was going to be able to outbox Usyk. So it's like you're saying, Jimmy, if he goes in there and fights uncharacteristically, which is, try to fight like Derek Chisora and just jump all over Usyk, he's going to empty his gas tank, and he's probably going to get stopped in the middle rounds.
Exactly. That's the difficult part about that. Yeah, you empty your load on Usyk. You open up with two hands, just a little bit more sustained than you usually do. They'll string together your punches, but then you empty your gas tank while trying to go big to go home early. Then you expend yourself. Then Usyk comes back with the flurry. Yeah, he's a smaller guy, but he's gonna get you. He's gonna get you because that's what he's waiting for.
Exactly. Now you know what? If he learned how to fight coming forward. Like, who impressed me was Anthony Yarde against Lyndon Arthur in the rematch. In the first fight, he was playing Lyndon Arthur's game, jabbing from the outside, and just that's not Yarde's game. Then in the second one, he learned how to take it to the other guy, fight on the inside. Arthur was out of his element, and Yarde took him out. If Joshua can do something like that, then perhaps he has a shot at winning. But again, it's a big if, because it's not like Usyk's just going to stand there and let him punch him, you know what I mean?
Did you hear? I don't know how true this is because I didn't read it. I was told that he played second string on a professional soccer team for Ukraine. He's that good of an athlete that he actually played in a professional soccer game for Ukraine. I don't know how true that is, but I
saw that too. I saw that too. Yep.
No shit. Yeah, so he's a good athlete, I guess. All around. No doubt.
That's why he's got great footwork.
And I know he's got a master's degree too, so he's a really intelligent cat.
I've tried to look that up about the master's degree. I haven't found anything about that. I think maybe you're confusing him with Gvozdyk. Alexander Gvozdyk, I think, has a master's degree.
Yeah,
okay, well, again, I was told that. I don't know if I read it somewhere, or maybe I did, but I know for a fact I was told he had a mess, so maybe the kid was screwing up Gvozdyk.
Sounds like you're making it up and you're trying to fuck with us. He has a bachelor's,
at least. He's a college graduate.
No. It sounds like you're making it up and you're trying to mess with us. That's what I think.
No, why would I fucking do that?
I think you're right.
I don't give a fuck how stupid that motherfucker is.
Hey, Jimmy, what's right is right. Hey, Jimmy, what's right is right.
That's right. What's right is right, Jimmy.
Yeah. It might be like Manny Pacquiao's master's degree. It's just a little bit hard to find in the file box.
Why, they said Manny had a master's degree?
Well, you know what? Maybe an honorary
whipping ass. Whipping ass.
Yeah, whipping ass. He's been fighting since he was 18, really. I mean,
he had a master's degree in whipping ass.
Maybe it's one of those degrees that the university gives him, an honorary degree. As a maybe that's what he's got. I don't know.
Well, listen, when I went to the all-male university, I came out with my high school diploma. So,
there you go. Well, yeah. I mean, you gotta make something. You gotta make something out of it. Hey, speaking of, let's go to a phone call.
I got out early.
Let's go to 917. 917. You're on the air. 917. What's on your mind?
New York.
Hello.
Yeah, 917. You're on the air.
New York.
What do they call it? Recognize the School of Hard Knocks?
The hard.
Hold on, fellas, please. 917. Can you hear us? Going once. Going twice.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Is it Chibi?
Yeah, Chibi's in New York now.
Yeah, it's Chibi. Sorry about that.
Don't worry about it, man. So, okay, so what's up?
Chibi, you just gave yourself up. You from New York, man.
My bad. I thought this. But no, so like I was saying earlier,
Chibi's from New York,
What was
man.
I saying? Oh yeah. I was what LT wouldn't believe is that I was essentially rooting for Mario Barrios. I mean, because I thought he could win the fight, man. Because and I was saying this in the last Discord, if he goes to the stomach, he can win this fight. And if he would have started off that fight like how he started off in round 8, we could have got a real nice upset to this Saturday. And now we got to deal with Keith Thurman talking shit, thinking he's the best because he beat Mario Barrios. I mean, like if we really think about it, who's really Mario Barrios anyways? You know what I'm saying? Like, the nigga's a bum. Not Barrios, but Keith Thurman. Like, I don't think he there's no way that he can sit here, like, even, like, you guys know, I don't really like Errol Spence Jr., but even Errol Spence Jr. is tailor-made for him, like, how much he throw body punches.
Chibi, I gotta tell you, man, when you're right on the money. I mean, it's this guy, Keith Thurman. Well, to be fair, though, Keith Thurman did give himself quite a low mark for his performance. I think he said B- or C+. So at least he's not that crazy where he's thinking, yeah, I look like a killer in the...
No, he didn't. He fought. Listen, no, that was 100% Keith Thurman, man. He fought like that all the time. It's just like for instance, like, it's just new styles of fighting. Like fighting, when it comes to fighting, people always upgrade. Like, for instance, like, if you look at like an old UFC fighter versus the new UFC fighters today, the new UFC fighters today are very unorthodox compared to the old UFC fighters. And he's just the old boxer, bro. Like, his style is not going to compete with the top brass right now. Like, they think, Errol Spence, if he even dare fight Errol Spence, he's going to just suffocate him. And if he fight Keith Thurman, that's just going to be an easy fight. I mean, if he fight Terence Crawford, that's just going to be an easy fight. Matter of fact, I don't even see him beating Boots Ennis, or I don't even see him beating Virgil Ortiz. But that's just my own thoughts on it. Just let it be known. Keith Thurman's a bum, and he needs to retire.
I wanted to tell you, man, speaking of big fights, so LT sent me something on the Discord. It says that Oscar Valdez has signed that contract, and now they're waiting for Shakur to sign it. So this Friday, if anything else happens, any more developments, you're going to have to go at it with LT over that fight, man.
What's that again?
Apparently, Oscar Valdez signed the contract for the Shakur Stevenson fight, so now they're just waiting for Shakur Stevenson to do his part. So if that's true, if we can confirm that, this Friday, on the Open Lines Friday, you and LT are going to have to go at it, man, over that fight.
All right, then let me go ahead and do my research, and I'll be ready.
It is confirmed. No, he did sign. They did a press release.
Uh-oh.
Damn. Oh, Shakur
All right, well, let me,
too?
what I'm going to do is, let me go ahead and do my homework first to see what's really going on, because he might have just signed, and now, let's just see how that goes first, and then I'll come back to y'all on that one.
All right, Chibi, thank you for calling in, man. Catch you on the next one.
I want to make sure before I come for you for LT, I want to make sure I come with facts. So I'm gonna wait.
There you go. That's the only way to do it. All right, take it easy, Chibi. Thank you for your call, man. See you on Friday.
Facts over fiction.
Take it easy.
Facts over fiction.
Remember that show Fact or Fiction? From Fox.
Fiction.
Yeah, that was a good show, man. They never aired the episode. I got it on DVD, the special one where they talk about the 6 million, and they go, that was fiction. That's right. We got you. I was like, whoa, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You don't know what I'm talking about, right, Recognize?
No.
Yeah.
No, okay, good.
BDA, just real quick, in regards to what Chibi said about new styles and the UFC, how they evolved. Well, boxing's been around for a longer time, over 100 years.
That's
in the squared circle. So that's evolved. That's evolved already through a longer period. Now with UFC, it's hands and feet. In a shorter period, of course, they're gonna evolve. When they're so new. But boxing has already evolved to a level that you rarely see a different style unless Lomachenko comes along and does something different. But, it's more combined to what the fighter needs to do to win. And in Keith Thurman, we know what his vulnerabilities are, and that's why he's patented his style in the ring to do what he does.
Yeah.
Listen, over 100 years ago, fighters used to say, put him up. We evolved from those times, man.
Yeah, back in the day, people used to, even the way they talk, back then it used to be I'll moide the bum. Now it's
I'll moide you.
All All right, listen, we got another phone call here. Let's go. Oh, no, they hung up. All right, what was I going to say then? Yeah, you know what, Gonzalo, you reminded me about the old styles. I used to get into it 20 years ago in message boards with these old heads in the message boards, and they used to go, now back in the day, the fighters from the 1920s were more complete, man. Then you watch the footage from the guys from the 1920s. They're wearing these towels around their crotches. You can see their butt cheeks. They're slapping around. They look like amateurs. You really tell, Benny Leonard, man. Oh, this guy, he would school everybody. Even Sugar Ray Robinson, man. I mean, look, I'm a fan, and most boxing fans like Sugar Robinson because he was one of the originals and he had hand speed and power, but he was a bit of a slapper too, man. I mean, don't tell me that they haven't evolved. Fighters have evolved. The technique gets a little bit more tight, crisper. Yeah.
And now they got the gloves or the better gloves. Before, we know it like in street fighting, if you punch hard and you bust your hand, you can't keep punching. So fights would usually go many rounds. There would be no decisions. Now you can put everything behind your shots and punch through the target. Now that leads to, okay, how am I going to do the second punch? How is that going to turn into my follow-up? How am I going to fare when I'm inside close and the other fighter's punching me back? To where before, you weren't trading shots like that because your hands were getting hurt. You couldn't exchange like that. And that leads to other things. It's pretty complex, right? For a game with two hands.
Exactly. It's like a domino effect. And there's always somebody that's going to point out, yeah, well, what about Willie Pep? What about Benny Leonard? I mean, Georgie Benton. Okay, you're giving us the exceptions that prove the rule when it comes to a modern style. Anyway, I don't want to get into it right now. We got people calling back. Hold on a second. 201, you're on the air. 201, what's on your mind? 201. Yeah, we can hear you, man.
Hello. Hey, I just want to add a little comment from the Keith Thurman Vargas fight.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, to me, Keith Thurman looks kind of washed out, in my opinion. I don't know if it was ring rust. I don't know. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like some fights that come out like long layoffs and they come back and they don't look really good, and then the next fight come around and they look kind of crisp. But I don't know. Keith Thurman look kind of like out.
I mean,
Mario Barrios, he got knocked out by Tank's he fought a guy who was knocked out by Tank. So he fought Tank's leftovers and he couldn't knock him out. A bigger, stronger guy. Come on. And he got hit to the body too.
Yeah, no body shot. He was throwing single right hands to the body. Like he thought he was Roy Jones or something. I mean, now what about a left hook to the body, man? How about opening up upstairs and trying to get the guy to put his hands up and then you hit him with a left hook to the body? None of that. It was one shot at a time from Keith. He really did live up to the name, one-time Thurman, because it was one shot at a time.
Yep.
He was one at a time. But what boggles to me how PBC was saying these fight hard as hell. You saw the little documentary that they made. The documentary was even better than the fight itself. It was crazy.
Yeah, that was worth $80, right? Yeah, that's where all the money's probably gonna go to make up for that mini documentary they did. I mean, look,
also,
yeah.
Welcome. Also was what were you saying, Sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead, man.
Now, I also want to add into this thing. There are guys that can beat him, and into that 147-pound division, I believe they're a bunch of dealers, to be honest. They're all dark each other and the company things. I don't think Boots any success rate as people make it out to be. I was seeing some of his fights, and he looks very pedestrian to me. He looks kind of weird. He can get away with a lot of things that he does, because he's a huge welterweight, and also he's been fighting against blow ups, lightweights. If you actually pay attention, he's built up his career a little bit just like Shakur, just beating a lot of lower bantamweights, but he haven't been on the ring with someone his size. I would put him against another prospect. What was the guy, the number one guy from the IBF? I got the step money, like
Stanionis.
The step away money, whatever.
Oh,
yeah, I would have put him in the ring with that guy.
I mean, we'll see what happens. Like I said, this welterweight division is very disappointing so far. I mean, at least Ugas and Spence are gonna fight each other, but other than that, it lacks a little certain magic. We want magic, man. We want some magicians to work their craft in there.
I mean, on that fight, I think Ugas can give that a surprise though, because Ugas is more right now. He's he's more seasoned right now. He can actually snap power, and that eye of Errol is kind of shaky, and he didn't really impress me in his last fight against Danny Garcia, to be honest.
Right. I mean, we'll see what happens.
The fight wasn't what? Like that fight wasn't as far as like everybody make it out to be. Like it wasn't that far away. It was like maybe like 5-7.
Yeah, I think so too, man.
Danny Garcia got him with a lot of flashing shot though.
Wow, I mean, hopefully we'll see we'll talk more about that fight as it gets closer. April 16th, they're saying, so we're gonna watch out for that one. Well, listen, we're gonna move on to another call, but thank you for your call. Call back next time, right, man?
All right, thank you so much, guys. Have a good one.
You too, man. Take it easy. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 619. You're on the air. 619. What's on your mind?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, indeed. What's on your mind?
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's the first time calling in, and it's kind of choppy. But, yeah, I just wanted to mention something. I haven't been listening the whole time, but I don't know if you guys saw that Shakur and Oscar, they've made that contract. I remember I was listening last week, and LT and Chibi were going at it because he was saying that Oscar doesn't want to fight Shakur, and he's ducking Shakur. But in reality, Oscar was the first one to sign the contract. So there's all these narratives when we go online. But that's just a fighter's job. Like, it's a fight game. They have to say this, and this person's ducking me, and this person is scared of me. But we can't take that stuff too seriously.
You know what? You're absolutely right. That's why one thing we've tried to tell people on this show is, look, we try to stick to what's happening in the ring. Because if you start focusing too much on what happens outside, there's a lot of hearsay. This guy said this guy said that, then this reporter leaks this, then that reporter leaks that, and you got to try to piece everything together. So these people that talk, look, they do it for views, man. They always like to put that, this guy's ducking that guy in the title with a few exclamation points, and people eat it up. And they love to talk, people love to debate about who's ducking who. Meanwhile, nobody really knows what the real deal of what's going on. So, I mean, it's for the numbers, man.
I mean, unless you're involved, you don't really know all the details. And all the fans like to say, oh, he's ducking. We don't really know. Like, that's their job. It's the fighter's job to say, everyone's afraid of me, and why aren't you signing the contract? Meanwhile, there is no contract. Like, they're supposed to talk shit. I don't like it when the fans talk shit, where they call fighters bums and stuff. I think fighters should do it. They should be able to do it. But, like, no one thinks that Dustin Poirier's wife was in Connor's DMs. You know what I mean? But that's his job. Like, that's Connor's job. It's WWE. And once you realize it for what it is, I think it becomes much more enjoyable than like,
he said his wife was
involved in this, and I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I got you, caller, man. It's people for some reason they believe it, man.
Did Conor McGregor really say to an opponent that your wife keeps DMing me?
Conor posted a screenshot of Jolie Poirier in his DMs.
Oh,
wow, and then he tweeted at Dustin yo, this is fucked up, man. Your girl's in my DM. She wants my dick or something.
Oh,
now he's just doing his thing.
Yeah, right, man. All right, well, listen.
You know about that? That was in the last fight.
Oh, that's okay. Well, yeah, because I didn't pay attention to that, man. Man, that's next level trolling right there, man. Before a fight. Yeah. Well, listen, 619. Thank you for your call. We got to move on, but thanks for your call and call back next time, right, man?
Yeah, man. Take care. Thanks for having me.
Take it easy, man. Hey, you know what? That thing about him, Conor McGregor saying that about the guy's wife, that she was DMing him. You know what I say about that?
It's not right. It's not cool.
That's right. It's not right. It's not cool. It's not safe.
Play the whole thing.
Play the whole thing? Oh, fuck. Okay, hold on a second. play the whole thing. All right, hold on. Let's see. Do I have it here? Yeah, give me 2 seconds. 'Cause it's loading up here. But
I mean, it's not the biggest thing in the world, but it's just funny as fuck.
don't forget to hit the like
It's not
button.
like-
Hit the like
cool.
button. All right, here we go. Hold on. Ah, come on! It's making now. This computer is making me look bad, man. Because I said here it is, and then it's not here. Ah, here we go.
And look, I just...
Tell me.
Well, I don't like seeing women treated that way. This guy, he plays Johnny Wad. It's always about slapping some girl around or whatever. It's not right. It's not cool. It's just not sexy. I mean, it's not sexy like it should be, Jack. This guy's more...
Oh man, I love that movie.
It's the way he says sexy.
Yeah. What, Jimmy? Can you hear what we were talking about? Because I just heard
Oh
you
yeah,
say-
yeah, no, yeah. I heard.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that fucking Mark Wahlberg is so goofy. It's just not sexy, man. Like, yeah, he just.
It's not right. It's not cool. All right.
And I just want to say too, with Alexander there, he does have a bachelor's in sports physiology, but I don't know if he ended up getting his master's. But he does have a bachelor. So does Lomachenko. They both got bachelor degrees.
But you see, that's why when Gvozdyk retired, I was thinking, yeah, it makes sense, man, because these guys who have degrees outside of boxing, I don't like it when a fighter has options outside the ring. Like Julio Diaz. Remember, he was starting to go to law school, because then you're thinking, all right, if this guy gets into it, or it starts getting a little bit too rough, or he starts losing a little bit of love for the training and for the grind, they're going to look at the outside the ring options, going to go, why am I killing myself in the gym when I could be in a cushy office job, doing less than I mean. But then, of course, the other problem is then they start missing the action, right? They start missing the adrenaline that comes with boxing. So it's a big mess, man. Just choose one thing and stick to it.
Yeah. You're either a fighter or you're not.
Well, I think it's also part of their culture over there. I think it's because the universities are free. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I think, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's just a part of their culture that you go on to college.
Right. Yeah, man. Maybe
Man, shit. All these dudes got degree. They got PhD degrees, player hating degree.
And he reiterated too that he will never use a Russian passport, and he thanked the Russian fans for not, turning on him.
Well, good for him, man. Hey, let's go to another phone call here, man. 754, you're in the air. 754, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, man? This is Coach Malachi Williams of New Media Today USA Boxing. Just calling in for the first time. Want to give you guys shout out, support, like your work, subscriber. Advise everyone to at least hit the like button, man, and hit the like button and share the content.
Well,
hit
thank
the like
you,
button
man.
and share the content. I just sent for myself. So.
Thank you, Coach, man. Really appreciate you calling in, man, and really enjoy your show right back at you, man.
Who's this?
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
boy.
I see you guys talking about this in Ugas. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man. Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit of delay.
No, I was saying I see you guys talking about Errol Spence and Ugas. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I think it's a 50-50 fight. According to the naysayers, maybe this fight will sell pretty well. It should do somewhere like maybe. I know you think I'm smoking crack, but I'm not. 60, 70,000. According to what they say. So we're gonna see. But outside of that, I think it's a 50-50 fight, man. It's a good chance that Ugas could win this fight. I just honestly believe that if it go 12 rounds, and if it's a close fight, I think that the judges are going to go Errol Spence's way.
Hey, let me ask you.
I have no proof of that, but I just feel that way.
Let me ask you, who did you have winning the Ugas-Pacquiao fight?
Ugas.
Ugas, okay. Because there's been some controversy amongst certain people in the community disagree, and they think that Ugas didn't deserve that decision. But I thought, it was pretty clear that he was landing the cleaner shots. But do you think, that was Pacquiao. Let's face the facts. That's, it's still Pacquiao, but at the same time, it's an old Pacquiao. Do you think Ugas Spence could actually be a good fight, an entertaining fight? Because Ugas seems to make for, boring fights sometimes.
No, he is a boring fighter. I'm not gonna lie, man. I wouldn't be surprised if this fight. And this is what I'm saying. Like, I don't think this is going to be an action-packed fight like people thinking it is. Like, but not some people believe that Errol Spence is just going to walk through this guy. No one walks through Ugas. Styles make fights. He's a counterpuncher. He likes to sit in the pocket. He's going to. This is going to be It's going to be one of those ugly fights, man. And Spence coming back. You know, he's going to get the benefit of the doubt on a lot of stuff. Understandably so. We don't know how that eye is going to hold up. I'm pretty sure Ugas is going to aim for the eye. Probably maybe have an accidental headbutt right on that eye. Yeah, that's what I would do. Bernard Hopkins probably would do the same thing.
Hey, let me ask you too.
You know, it's going to be an ugly fight. I really believe that it's not going to be anything action-packed.
Yeah, I hope we're wrong, because if it's going to be pay-per-view, I'd like to. We all like to have our bang for our bucks, paying $89 or $80 for that fight, and have it be entertaining. I wanted to ask you too, because we were talking about that earlier on. Sean Porter apparently said, I can't confirm this because I can't find that direct quote, but supposedly he said that Jaron Ennis is overrated. What do you think? Jaron Ennis, overrated, underrated, or right where he should be?
I mean, I really like him. I like him and Virgil Ortiz, but as it relates to Jaron Ennis, he looks good with the fights that he's had thus far. I do think there's a lot of hyperbole around Jaron Ennis. You know, they're talking like he's the next coming of Hagler or Roy Jones and stuff like that. And we all know that, you know, your level of competition plays a big part in it. So until he fights any of the elite guys, we really won't know exactly what he has. He does pass the eye test. I do think that he deserves a shot at a title or any of the elite fighters. But until we actually see him in the ring with any of these top guys, I would love to see him in there with Virgil Ortiz. That would tell me exactly who he is, what he has, can he take a punch? How does he handle fighters who has better footwork than him? How does he handle people, who hits hard? How will he respond if he gets knocked down in the fight or get dropped? So there's a lot of questions about this guy. And is he overrated? BDA, I'm not gonna lie to you, brother. It's kind of hard for me to. I don't know. He might be overrated, but we won't know that until he fights tougher competition. That'll tell us if he's overrated or not.
That's a sensible answer right there.
Can I ask him a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy, please. Yeah.
Yeah. What's up, Coach? Hey, big fan, Coach. What's up, buddy? Listen, I first off, I agree 100%. If it's even remotely close, they're going to give it to Spence. I mean, there's enough receipts to show that PBC, the house fighter, normally gets the nod. I agree with you there. I agree it's going to be a closer fight. Ugas is long. He's got a good jab. I don't think it's going to be an exciting fight. And if you go by his statistics, every one of Spence's pay-per-views have dropped by increments of 50,000, and that's what they're reporting. I don't believe for a second the reason they're reporting the true numbers over there. That's the reason they asked the providers to stop releasing them. I was going to ask you, what do you think on that? Do you think that the PBC making the providers no longer letting them release the numbers? Do you think they're releasing fair numbers, real numbers?
No, I don't think they're doing that. I think when they do release numbers, they probably do, put a little yeast on it, make it inflated a little bit. But we all know that if they don't release the numbers, we know what it is. We know it's a flop. If they don't release numbers, it's flop. But I'm anxious to see what to answer your question. I think they inflate numbers a little bit, but I think all promoters do that, to be fair. Not just the PBC. I think they do kind of like maybe put a little yeast on it, boost it up a little bit. But it's very interesting to see, bro, to be honest with you, if this fight, what kind of numbers this fight is going to do. Because if you listen to certain channels on YouTube, this fight is going to 80,000 plus. The pay-per-view numbers are going to be astronomical, stuff like that. And we all know that's some bullshit, but I didn't mean to curse, but we all know that's some BS. But you can't listen to these guys, bro. But I honestly believe that PBC, they do kind of inflate their numbers a little bit, pay-per-views. But I also believe that other promoters do it as well who have done pay-per-views in the past.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the way it seems like. Right? Like they're all gonna. I mean, the PBCs like you said, they all have to inflate their numbers a little bit. But the PBC at this point, they seem to be the ones that are get at the back against the wall, as it were, because they're running out of dates, man. And I mean, you got to give it up to them for making the Errol Spence Ugas fight. But at the same time, it's almost like they didn't have a choice. What else were they gonna do? I mean, who were they gonna put Spence in with or Ugas with? I mean, but hey, a good fight's a good fight, man. As long as they stack it up with a good undercard.
I'm gonna tell you something else. Do not be surprised. Now, again, I don't have any proof of this, but I'm gonna tell you what am I basing this on. Don't be surprised if it's a close fight. Errol Spence is going to win that fight, whether he wins it or not. If it's a close fight, and he's going to fight Keith Thurman next. I honestly believe that. Bro. I believe that. I honestly believe that.
Well, I hope.
I honestly believe that, bro. I'm telling you.
I hope not.
Of course. No, that's exactly what's going to happen. That's the one top welterweight over there that he hasn't fought, and it's another reason not to fight Crawford. It's another roadblock for him fighting Crawford, because at the end of the day, I don't believe he wants anything to do with Crawford, and I don't think, if I'm mistaken, I don't think Coach believes he wants to fight him either.
Yeah. Yes, sir. And my reason for saying that about the Crawford Spence, forget the accident. I had Crawford beating him before the accident. But the reason why I say that is because you can't play boxing. Like, some of those fighters at the PBCs, some of them, the lifestyles that they live in between fights, it is what I believe. When you get in the ring with someone who doesn't live that hip hop rapper lifestyle, be in the club partying, drinking, letting your weight balloon up to 180, 190, and you got to cut 40, 45 pounds just to make weight. You can beat certain fighters with that, doing that. But when you run up on the right fighter, I'm just a firm believer in all of this stuff will catch up with you. And I just honestly believe that. I mean, you can get by with certain fighters, but when you fight those elite fighters who don't drink, who don't smoke, who don't party, who do everything right inside and outside the ring, it's going to come back and bite you. So that's what I believe as it relates to Spence, to be honest with you.
Yeah, man. I mean, the rumor is that supposedly he's more in love with doing farm work in his ranch than actually fighting. And look, man, boxing is a hard sport. To be able to go to the gym 6 times a week, it's a grind. It takes its toll on people, but that's what differentiates the all-time greats from the never worse. It's the guy who wants it the most. And Errol Spence, I'm not saying he's a bad fighter, but he seems to be falling out of love in boxing. That's the way it seems to me. I don't know. We could be wrong, but yeah, man, the drinking outside the ring, the going around and shooting pigs in his ranch and not really training properly. I don't know. Hopefully we're wrong.
90 seconds. Yeah, for the sake of the boxing fans, I hope we're wrong. But listen, man, I want to tell you, BDA, man, much love to you, but I love your work. I mean, you guys is funny as hell. I know you get the same heat that I get, but just keep up the good fight. Don't worry about it. Just keep going.
Thank you. Thank you, Coach. Thank you. And it's good to have people out there. It's good to have people out there who are seeing what we're seeing as well. Like we both share the same point of view, because it is what it is, and just try to entertain people and stick to the boxing. You know what I mean? Seconds. Stick to the boxing. We're not trying to get people on to see boxing one way and that's it, our way or the highway. No, it's just it's all about the boxing. At the end of the day, it's about watching an entertaining sport and not making it out to be the racial issue the way some other channels are, man. So we're right there with you, Coach.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say too, Coach, big fan, and I appreciate everything you do, because it's guys like you who push back against the narrative. You know what I mean? And you guys get a lot of heat for it, and you stand on your square. And I say big props to you, brother.
That's right, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I don't worry about the heat. It's not even heat; it's lightweight to me. Yeah, I used to be those guys. I used to be them for 25 years. So I get it. It's very easy for me to defend. So it's like, I went to war with them last year. I think I pretty much established myself. That's over with now. They know what it is when they come my way. So, but keep up the good work, man. Let's keep it boxing, and we're gonna debunk the narratives, and that's it, brother, man. Much love to y'all. Please, guys, subscribe, hit the like button, share. It helps a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
brother.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you for calling in, man. Really appreciate it. All right,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, don't forget to check out Coach Malakai's channel too as well. New Media Today, USA Boxing. He streams every day. I believe it's every day. And he takes phone calls too. So you could call in and give him your opinion. If you agree, disagree, it's that type of platform. He lets everybody on. So go check it out. New Media Today, USA Boxing. That was Coach Malakai
real good
Willis.
stuff. Good
That's
stuff.
right. And like you said, Jimmy, the fact that he stood his ground, he didn't give an inch. He said, look, this is the way I see it. I could be right, I could be wrong, but this is the way I see it, and you're not going to bully me into changing my mind. So got to respect him for that as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and the whole thing about Keith Thurman fighting, he's got no choice. He wasted 5 years, whether it was because he procrastinated a little too much, whether he was hurt or not, whether it was legitimate. I mean, the saving grace for him is that he still looks good for 33. The legs are still there. He looked fit. So he's got no choice. If he wants to earn money and he wants to make the big fights happen, he has to do it now. Right?
That's a good point too, Gonzalo, because again, I mean, it's true that it wasn't
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Oh my God, I don't know why that voice, I always try to mute it and I forget. Yeah, Gonzalo, like you were saying, it was an interesting performance from Thurman. He gave himself a low grade as he should have because he couldn't stop Barrios. But at the same time, he did show that his legs are still there, the stamina is still there. Unfortunately, the glass stomach is still there. This guy, he gets stabbed once in the stomach. He's bending over. He's got appendicitis. But, I mean, it is what it is. I wouldn't mind him seeing him against Errol Spence or the winner of Spence Ugas because at least he outclassed Barrios. But then that's the other thing, though. Remember, guys, I don't know if you remember, I asked before on Friday, I asked the open panel, I said, what does Keith Thurman have to do? Like, what's the minimum he has to do to not disappoint people? People were like, oh, he has to knock this guy out in under 5 rounds. He didn't do that. So would you guys say that Thurman failed this Saturday, or?
He did pretty good. He appointed his opponent probably 10-2. I was impressed. One thing that Thurman did real quick. When we were talking about leaping shots earlier, and one shot hit the finish, or have like a sustained punishment on your opponent where you can knock him out. But he did pretty good in my opinion.
Well, there you go, man. I mean, I guess we keep an eye on Keith Thurman, see what he's all about.
As long as again, it's one of those things. Yes, he did look good for someone out of the ring for over 2 years, his legs and stuff. But at the end of the day, for me, it's always who you fight. Your opponent matters. And this was a little dude who got dragged up, who really, I mean, we already went through, I mean, he just didn't belong in there, and he's just been used as fodder for the PBC. So I'm curious to see when he steps up against someone who can hit him back, how he acts, because remember, he wasn't on the couch when he lost to the shell of Manny Pacquiao, because even though he's still Manny, he wasn't the Manny of by no stretch of old, and he lost to him. To me, that's a big loss. You know what I mean?
And by the way, when Barrios got hit, he looked like he was going to crumble the same type of way he did against Gervonta Davis. He starts falling apart. He starts like dragging his feet back. He starts bending at the waist. I thought, man, dude, this dude's about to go like he did against Gervonta Davis. So what does that tell you about Barrios? He's not that sturdy, but just he couldn't follow it up. And mind you, he was dominating. No, what was it? Barrios was beating Gervonta Davis pretty handily, like at least most of the rounds until Gervonta Davis knocked him out. So, I mean, which was more impressive? Well, Gervonta Davis, he knocked out fucking Barrios. No, well, Thurman dominated Barrios. He just couldn't get him out of there. He could have probably if he would have followed up on his shots.
You know what? That's a good point.
Performance, I think.
That's a good point, Gonzalo, because what's his name? Davis. He spent a lot of time on the defensive trying to lure the taller man to go to him. And even, I mean, you saw what happened. It was going down the wire, and Mayweather had to tell him, hey, look, you got to take this guy out. You got to take this guy out. So it's not like he was dominating Barrios either. He could have lost that fight. He didn't know that he was ahead on the scorecards, but it could have very easily be going Barrios' way. So the fact that Keith Thurman couldn't stop Barrios, maybe it's not that bad a thing either. I mean, he did dominate him, barely lost a round. So.
But did you see PDA when Barrios gets hits, he gets all disheveled in the same way?
Yeah, I mean, he was fighting.
At least he braided his hair. He didn't comb it this time like he did last time. He had his hair in the corner.
That was that was a
Yes.
Nastic with no. That was a Nastic with what do you call it? Those dreadlocks.
I don't know what that was. That was bizarre, man.
And then he was 7 inches shorter. I mean, Davis, I believe, was 7 inches shorter than him.
Yeah.
There was a big size discrepancy. So, yeah, Davis just had to eventually land a shot. But the fact that they knew, I mean, obviously they wouldn't have made that fight unless they knew he could take him out. So I don't know if there's the scuttlebutt around the gyms, because that's usually when you find out somebody's chinny. It's the shit they say, from the gyms they spar in.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know if he is or not, but they were confident that Davis was going to take him out. And again, I saw him against the Russian kid who wasn't a power puncher, and he outlanded him by 125 punches. But Barrios got a robbery decision on that. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, just Barrios. I mean, people talked about it before this Thurman fight. They said, okay, well, who has he fought? Akhmadaliev, he should have lost that fight for in a lot of people's eyes. He lost against Tank Davis. So what has he really accomplished in boxing to be able to beat a guy like Thurman? And to Thurman, again, to Thurman, to just sum it up, to Thurman's credit, he did show up after 2.5 years out the ring, dominated Barrios. But then now the big question is, can he do that against fighters of higher caliber? And we'll see, man. We'll see what happens with him. This Saturday, by the way, there's a little boxing our way. And the big question is, how entertaining will it be? Daniel Jacobs versus John Ryder on the zone. Now, the reason why I ask how entertaining will this fight be is because Daniel Jacobs, let me tell you, great resume, right? But his biggest performances were almost worse. Almost against Triple G and a competitive fight against Canelo Alvarez. He didn't really push the pedal to the metal in either of those fights. And then you see what happens against Rosado in the last fight. I mean, we were all thinking he was going to bust Rosado up. Instead, the fight was incredibly close. He almost lost it. And you got to say the same thing a little bit about John Ryder. Everyone talks about John Ryder's performance against Callum Smith. Whoa, he gave him a heck of a fight, blah, blah, blah. Then he goes in and he fights, I forget the last dude he fought, and it was just, again, no pressure, just languishing there, no urgency. It seems like these two guys are, what do you guys think? Are they on the same level? It's like they don't seem to push it when they need to.
Yeah, one more thing, BDA, Daniel Jacobs versus Aria, similar type of performance.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. For me, Jacobs just always does just enough to lose, And I think Ryder might actually take it because I think Jacobs just isn't in love with boxing anymore. It's completely just a moneymaker for him now. You can tell by his performances. But I think Ryder might surprise everyone. I'd like to see what the Vegas has him at. But yeah, that fight also could be a fucking stinker too.
That's what I'm thinking, Jimmy. Now, I'll tell you something, and I want to get your opinion on this, because I don't know if I'm looking way too much into it. There's a clip of Tyson Fury sparring welterweights, right? And he lets them, when he's sparring these smaller guys, he's letting them hit him to the body. There's a clip where he's up against Josh Taylor, and Fury puts his hands behind his back, and he lets Taylor whack on his body. And Taylor doesn't shy away from it. He's loading up on right hooks and left uppercuts, and he's just whacking him. Then he's sparring John Ryder, Fury that is, and Ryder's tapping him. And Fury's like, what the fuck, hit me, let's go. And Ryder doesn't want to hit him. And I can't help but wonder, do you think psychologically there's something there about Ryder, that's where he's at? He won't, even though it's sparring and it's for fun and the other guy's telling him, hey, punch me, he's not willing to do it. Do you think psychologically there's something there about him not willing to push it to the next level?
That's very, could be. Yeah, some guys just don't have that in them, right? That killer instinct or that, to be violent, for lack of a better term, I mean, it's all different personality things too, right? Comes down to it.
Well, stylistically, I think that, Jacobs fought Chavez at like 68 or like above 70. Now, Jacobs is a career 60-pounder, but he was always coming in big when he fought, like, for example, Triple G. Size, he was like a big middle. So size actually goes in his favor, like where he comes in big facing 60-pounders like he did in Triple G. He's got the advantage. But you don't want to face guys higher than 60 that have power. So he's not necessarily fighting a 68-pounder that has punching power, as you're alluding to. He's more of a volume puncher. Ryder is. So he's fighting a 68-pounder. It doesn't have power, but Jacobs, when he's more filled out, he probably has the advantage. So I think he's got the tools to beat a Ryder easily.
Well, you say easily, but that's what we said about him against Rosado. He should beat Rosado.
I think this
easily.
is a fight he could lose, man. I think he's gonna lose.
Now,
he's a short guy. He's a short guy, Ryder.
Yeah. I know he's short, but I think that
he's like 5'9". He's like Canelo height.
I think he has enough at this point where Jacobs doesn't to outwork him and beat him.
Right? Just a gut feeling, right? Recognize, like you just got a gut feeling he's not going to put it in there.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I don't have a feeling.
Yeah.
I just have a feeling that he's going to lose that fight.
But I get the same. That's what I'm saying. I get the same feeling from John Ryder, though. I don't think he's gonna. I think the fight's gonna be right there for him, and he's not gonna jump on it. I think he's just gonna, he's gonna be one of those guys that he tells himself afterwards, and I want this guy again. It's like, why? You were right there in front of him, and you didn't take the chance.
Yeah, you had him.
Yeah, you had him.
To me, he probably has too much. Didn't Fielding knock out Ryder like in one round?
Yeah, but that was a different type of fighter. Oh, actually, you know what?
Yeah, I think the biggest question is Jacob's chin when he faces power punches. That was what I was basically trying to say. And Ryder's not a power puncher, right?
That's right.
So
you're absolutely
he's
right.
bigger, he's more athletic, he's quicker, and he's got pop. So you put him against a shorter fighter that doesn't want to go hard, even in sparring like he did against Fury. He's afraid to tap somebody hard. Dude, the other dude's going to read him like a book and just land his counters and hurt him.
Yeah, man. We'll see. Jacobs has all the tools, man, to be. And now, if you get Golovkin out of there, Canelo at super middleweight, and Jacobs if he would have stayed at middleweight, I think he could have taken over. But now he's at super middleweight. Like you guys said, his hunger is not there anymore. It doesn't seem to be. We'll see what happens. You never know. He could catch Ryder with something and stop him. I'm not sure though. I'm expecting a boring fight a little bit.
That's the Saturday.
Right? Yes, this Saturday. I was late to the show. Did you talk about Benn Rodriguez?
No, we haven't yet.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know if I didn't want to bring it up if you guys had already talked about it. I just think over the weekend would be it wouldn't be right not to talk about his performance, man, because that kid, wow. Think about what he did. And I'm going to pose a question to you guys because I was thinking about it. He went up 2 weight classes on a week's notice to take on that kid,
Quadras,
who's Quadras, a tough Grizzly veteran, been in with the best, get a little back knee thing going on. But outside of that, I mean, tough as a fucking $3 steak, much bigger than you could see the actual physical difference in the ring. And to go in there and into fight like that, and that kid's got power in both hands. And that spin angle uppercut he caught him with. I remember when I saw him do it, the first thing I thought of was Gonzalo. I was like, oh, Gonzalo's going to fucking love that that move. But yeah, what did you think of that, Gonzalo?
Yeah, it was pretty good. The only thing that I don't see is how this guy can scale multiple divisions like Steve Kim was saying, or Robert Garcia, that he could become like a 4 or 5 division world champion. He's too small.
They said 4.
Yeah.
He did a 108 where he campaigning, right? That he could do what's the next one? 112? I mean, he went up 2 and he just won a belt so he literally, so basically it'd only be one more, right? To have to go to 118. Is that the next? Or 122? I don't know. Maybe 118, I think. But yeah, so he's already won 1 belt at probably the second hottest weight class. He would have to go 1 more. And that, if I was him, I'd go back down to 22, right? Until his body forces him to leave 108, 112, whatever the weight classes those little guys are at, and then follow the progression. That's just my opinion. But I think this kid is skilled to the gills.
Yeah, man, because he was Quadras, like you said, not only a veteran that knows how to survive and all that, but also bigger. And Quadras worked when he used to work. His style was moving, combos, but now that he's fighting a sharper guy, those slaps weren't going to get it done, man. And Rodriguez just picked him apart. And what were the scorecards at the end? Hold on, let me see if they Here we go. 117, 110. Yeah, 115, 112.
Yeah, because it was the 117, 110 was twice, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he looked
but
good.
that was a nice punch, Jimmy. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I knew you'd appreciate. All you guys appreciate. That was nice. Yeah, that pivot. But he hits hard with both hands too. And like Steve said, I mean, when Steve said he watched him hit the heavy bag, and it was impressive, just the way he was moving his weight around. And did you see? We talk about the difference between him and Thurman. That lack of movement, wasted movement. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's a bad thing. They usually call it that, like the nervous and the service type thing. Usually, if a guy's got a lot of movement, it's usually because he's afraid to get hit. He doesn't want to get knocked out. And I think Thurman. I mean, you can even have a 6-pack. But it doesn't mean it's crunch hard 6-pack. Like you some guys can get their stomachs like fucking granite walls. But I mean, most people don't like doing sit-ups. It is what it is, even fighters. So he probably just doesn't do the fucking ab work hard enough and the oblique work, and he's easy to fucking.
He's got show muscle. He's got show muscles in the belly, but there's not really too much substance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, also, he's staying pliable where he's bouncing around, so he's breathing in and out. The inflection and the deflection of his chest, therefore his stomach is not tensed up. So when he's getting punched, he's not like locking up. You know, he's not clenching his body tight. You know, he's on the move, and that move works good until it doesn't. It favors you more than it hinders you, because the movement, like Keith Thurman, okay, how does he generate his power? By moving side to side and generating that power, or coming in and out and developing that momentum, that inertia. But then again, when a fighter sees that you're doing that way too much, they say, let me see. Let me just punch as he's moving side to side or coming back and forth, and I'm going to punch him in the belly, and I'm going to catch him when he's breathing in or out. Right?
Let me tell you, man.
Yep.
Let me tell you, the abs. People try to cheat on abs, and it doesn't work. And when the gyms were open here, I would tell people, people would go, hey, BDA, can you help me out with the abs? I go, listen, you have to be serious about the abs because I'm not fucking around here. I told them, I want to see you turn the toilet into a volcano afterwards. That way you work the abs so strong. You can't control it anymore. You see what I'm saying? But people don't want to do it. People want to cheat on the abs. And look, with the abs, I tell people.
The one thing, don't you notice this, BDA? The one thing a lot of dudes want to get away from or don't want to put the work in is legs and the stomach. Those are the most important things too, man.
I tell people don't
plant in your legs.
Yep.
Don't
in
cheat.
your obliques. When you see guys doing obliques with the weight, you can use anything. You can use a broomstick, but the oblique twists, fucking Hagley used to do thousands of those. Thousands. Yeah,
people,
he's the king of the abdominal workouts.
People would rather do the bench press and have that deep chest. That's not really going to help him out in boxing. And then they want to scream after they do a 100-pound bench press.
or when they drop the medicine ball in the stomach. Similar to the movie Kickboxer, when Van Damme they drop the coconuts on the stomach. Usually when you do that or you hit a fighter with the stick on the stomach, the fighter's always tensing the body right before you hit him. But hit him when he's not expecting. That's a different story. That's why Keith Thurman is pulling out the mouth.
Gonzalo, every time I do an ab, I give people, or I do an ab workout, you start hearing police sirens because the cops are always looking for that killer workout. All right, listen, we got I think that's about it, man. We've been on for about 3 hours. We got to go. Anything else you guys want to say before we move on?
I wanted to say about Bam Rodriguez.
Yes.
The one thing I do like about that kid, keep in mind, he's 22, bro.
Oh,
he just turned 22. Yeah, so
14 fights, bro.
He's got a lot to grow, and that's a good sign for a kid who's already, obviously beat Quadras. Who Quadras is obviously, on a downslide from his better days, but still, like to be a 22-year-old. And to put up the performance he did, I was kind of impressed.
On a week's notice, too, brother. Which blows you, right? He only had a week to train for Quadras, which that other kid, who we were talking about earlier, he should have been thanking his lucky stars because he was supposed to fight the kid who won. He was supposed to fight Rodriguez. So, yeah, thank you, lucky stars there. So,
man.
Finish what you were saying, recognize.
No, that's it. I just want to say that, and then that puts it in perspective that he only had a week to train, which tells me he's a guy who's always in the gym.
Right, he's got Robert Garcia, which can hurt. I mean, Robert Garcia seems to know how to prepare those fighters for the big time. All
And
right,
he
well,
said
listen.
he hasn't. This is the best fighter he's had in his stable since was it Fernando?
Or Virgil Ortiz.
Oh no, this kid Bam. He's the most impressive skill set since. Was it the kid was it Fernando? I mean, no, who's that kid who fought Oscar De La Hoya?
Fernando Vargas.
Yes, was he with Garcia?
Well, they
Fernando
were friends,
Vargas
but
The father.
dad.
he was the father. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I don't know if because I said
Robert Garcia was a boxer at the time.
yeah, he was still a fighter in the '90s. Yeah.
I think.
All right. So because I know that they said the stable. I'm sorry, I'm talking over people. I can barely hear anybody, so let me put that out there. But yeah, he just said maybe he was talking about the best fighter in the Garcia stable since him, because I believe that's the quote I saw. So
Yeah.
I think Vargas was 22, then Robert Garcia became a champion at 24, and they were training with the father. What's his name? Well,
Big G.
Big G. Yeah.
Hey, we got Stu dropping by. Stu, are you there?
Yeah, what's happening, guys? Sorry I didn't see me. I'm not been very well, you know, man.
Oh, hope you. Oh, man, that's
man. Yeah, man. I'm not been very well, man. I thought I had COVID, but it's not that. But fucking early a bit, so I've been chilling out, guys, man. Getting early nights and chilling out. How are you guys anyway?
Doing good, man. Hope you feel better within the next couple of days, man. I mean, what is it that you got the flu or something?
No, yeah, it's like it's like a real bad flu. I thought, I thought it was COVID. It's not COVID. It's just a real bad flu. It's fucking knocked the shit out of me. The older you get, these flu, the more dangerous these flus become.
You ain't kidding, man.
I used to run mini marathons on flus when I was younger. Now I can't even get out of the fucking house. Do you know what I mean?
Hey, Stu, you can't use a little something to boost.
Kick this shit out of you.
BDA. Stu, you gotta eat some chicken soup, man. Chicken soup.
Yeah, hey guys, that Colombian flu is a real killer, you know.
No, man, you gotta get. I know you guys like to dabble in the weed. Does that help when you get the flu, or?
Yeah.
Oh, I constantly dabble in weed, so I wouldn't know the difference. You know what I mean?
Oh man. Well, listen.
All right, sorry, brother. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say we're gonna end the show, Stu. But if you want to say anything before we leave, I mean, did you catch the fights on Saturday or?
Yeah, I mean, I watched the Eubank Williams fight. I caught that up. Like I said, I was in and out of sleep, so I missed a lot of the boxing, but I did catch that one, and it was just a real bizarre performance by Liam Williams. It was like every time he got touched, he was doing the fucking Zab Judah dance, wasn't he? He was all over the fucking shop. I mean, Chris Eubank looked like Marvin Hagler in there, didn't he? I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, Andrade. I mean, he had problems with Liam Williams. Liam Williams gave Andrade a tough fight. I thought, obviously Andrade deservedly won, and he was a better fight, of course. But Liam Williams had his moments in there and gave Andrade all he could handle. Yeah, he did nothing. It looked like he was weight drained to me. I mean, if you're getting hurt with shots like that, I mean, the stomach's not right. He's either got a fucking blood clot in the brain or something, or he's struggling to weight. And I'd say it's the latter one. I mean, it was just a really bizarre performance from him. But Chris Eubank Jr., I mean, he looks like he's picked a few things up. He's learnt a few tricks here and there from Roy Jones. I mean, look, he's never going to be a skilled technician, shall we say? Because he's left it too late. I mean, he was that arrogant. This is the problem with narcissists. You can't tell a narcissist anything because they think they know it already, and that was his problem. They didn't need to learn, didn't need to get a proper trainer in. They're sitting there, he's trained himself, he said, and then he wonders why he gets schooled by fucking George Groves and Billy Joe. I mean, look, he looks like he's willing to learn with Roy Jones. He's picked a few things up, and he looks a better fighter for it, but it's too late.
Hey, Stu, what did you think? Stu, what did you think of Chris Eubank afterwards when they asked him about his performance? He goes, I could have stopped Liam Williams, but I didn't want to. He didn't want to stop the guy, apparently.
I take nothing serious that Chris Eubank says. I mean, he is a tool of the highest order, isn't he? Let's be real. But he's got his dad's chin, and he's a half decent fighter, and he's got his dad's chin, so he's always going to be dangerous. I mean, I'd like to see him in some big fights now. I mean, it's fucking how long we got to wait. I mean, it's time to move on from that sort of British / world level, shall we say, with Liam Williams, and I want to see him find world-class fighters, and we'll see where he is. But yeah, well, I mean, like I said, there's not really a lot of boxing I've been catching up on. I mean, I know that Katie Taylor's fighting, isn't she, the weekend? That looks like it's going to be a big fight, but I'm not really into women's boxing, to be fair. I mean, like I said, being the world champion at women's boxing is about as relevant to me as being the best bake caker in the world. It just doesn't mean anything to me.
Oh, man. Well, you share the sentiment on this channel. We've given it a try.
Because all I know is any of them girls step to me, they're getting knocked the fuck up.
It's like being the hottest chick at fat camp.
Exactly. Oh, man. Hey, but listen.
Robert Easter Jr. getting shot. He got shot 3 times.
The in your family, innit? It's because I'm being the hardest guy in the house or something. It doesn't mean anything.
Oh yeah, Jimmy. Jimmy, like you said,
I don't need to be, like sexist or anything. It's just I just don't see with women's sports. To me, I like to see the best against the best, and when the women are fighting, they're not the best. Whether they're the best at the females, then doesn't mean anything. You get a 15-year-old boy that will tear him a new one. And that's what I'm saying. Have you seen women's soccer? I mean, it's absolutely fucking dreadful. The goalkeepers. I mean, it's like these women don't even have any fucking hands. They're absolutely useless. And the pace is slow. I mean, just be real. Half of them are not even any good to look at. So there's nothing there to watch. I mean,
Tim Bradley said it best too. You give them smaller gloves because they got big gloves. Because their hands are more frail than men's. You give them smaller gloves and you make it 3-minute rounds.
Yeah, but it's not even just. I mean, but they've got no skills. They sit there square on, trading fucking. It's like watching some 2 guys fighting outside a pub that's pissed up. This is no techniques, no skill, just swinging for the hills and hope one lands. Chin in the fucking air, square on, and ferocious. I mean, look. I'm a big boxing fan. I've been watching boxing all my life. I like to see. I understand boxing. I understand certain techniques and skills. And these women, they're all right. They're half decent, but it's sloppiness for me. It's amateurish, and that goes for any sport. I mean, I can't watch women's tennis. I mean, if I wanted to listen to those sort of fucking noises for 3 hours, I'd just put porn on. Why the fuck would I want to listen to that?
Hey man, let me tell you. Some of these women are skilled, but I'm already having a hard time keeping up with amateur boxing.
Yeah, but but skilled. What do you mean skilled? Those fighters. I mean, Clarissa Shields. The best women boxer ever. If that's the best women boxer ever, then fucking hell, they are in trouble because she's fucking useless as well.
Yeah, I got you.
I mean,
all I'm saying is,
Katie Taylor has had more gift decisions than Sven Opka. I mean, and she's meant to be one of the best as well. I mean, look. It's just not for me. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a sexist. Any women's sport, it's not for me. I watched a bit of women's cricket the other day. It was fucking dreadful. I mean, what else was? Just any sport. I mean, I don't mind a bit of athletics or something like that, But that's it. I can't watch women's sports. It's just.
You know what I say about this? You know what I say about this misogyny?
It's not right. It's not cool.
That's right. That's politically correct BDA. That's what I'm going to be saying from now on. Every time you guys... I mean, what do you want?
That's where I am with that. I'll watch this fight. I'll watch this fight to see... I will watch it. I'm not going to be fucking pulling out of parties to watch it. But, if I get a chance to watch it, I'll watch it. And You know, but it's not one of them where I'm going to get them all excited and the nerves start to kick. You know, a big fight, the nerves start to go just before I ain't going to get that, am I? With fucking Katie Taylor in the ring. I mean, come on now, man.
Remember when Stu got into an argument with Bucho and he called him a communist?
I don't remember that. I don't remember that. What the fuck? Well, listen.
He's a little commie, that Butcher, isn't he? Little commie bastard.
Hey, speaking of Bucho, he's been trying to send you messages. I sent you a message too.
I'm not on. Yeah, I need to log into my Skype again. That's probably what it is. This I've had to with this Discord. I've had to take the notifications off because fucking this guy's waking me up in the middle of the night talking about Tank Davis. I don't hear that.
Yeah, I got you, man. Well, listen,
Dude, sometimes I'm sleeping or. You know, I'm being romantic with my wife, and this fucking just goes off.
And it's fucking BDA posting about a fucking article from the Boxing Times.
No, wait a minute, that's not true. That's not true. I don't wake people. I think you can take away. I'm not posting articles all the time or sending private articles. In fact, I rarely contact people privately on Discord.
Fucking chat, man. Oh, BDA. So you got the BDA main chat.
Yeah.
God damn! If I don't shut it off, all you hear is bloop, bloop.
Oh no!
Bloop, bloop, bloop. I'm like, oh, you motherfucker!
Yeah, you gotta take that shit off.
Like, you know when you get in your car, and you don't put the seatbelt on. That's what fucking Discord's like, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true, man. I mean, you gotta take that away yourselves, man.
People who put the seatbelt, I won't shut up till they put the seatbelt on. And look, I just, I've had to take that off. So probably that's why I'm not getting your messages. But when I come online, I see you online. That's when I come on. But I need to get Skype back so Butcher can contact me.
All right, fantastic. Well, listen, fellas, we do have to go. I gotta go grab a bite. But thanks to everybody that donated with the super chat, everybody that called in, and of course everybody that joined us here on the panel. Recognize Jimmy, Gonzalo, Bucho, Stu. Good talking to you, fellas.
Yeah.
Turn those notifications off. Turn those notifications off. If you want to get a good night's sleep, turn the notifications off on Discord. You'll be fine. Other than that, again, shout out to everybody out there, everybody who joined. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you haven't done so already, you can check us out on Spreaker and iTunes and Spotify. Forget about what Neil Young says. You can still check us out on Spotify. All right, fellas?